We got all the OGs in the house. Cruz, Connor, Max, McAuliffe, Blake, media manager Blake, Jonathan, and some others. 29 days till the NFL season starts. Also, we have Mike Storey joining us, the man that was voted favorite co-host. Storey. It's
that's a wild and honorable trait to take. I will happily accept that honor.
So I texted you that, and you're like, well, what was it, like 4 votes? I was like, it was like 33 votes. I mean, it's pretty decent. It's not 100, but it's something. It's you're doing something right, man. And you're my dad's favorite. Like, he looks forward to our shows the most. I'll say that.
Yeah, your dad's he's a smart guy. He knows what we're looking for, and that's nothing but hardcore statistics, right? No feels whatsoever.
The funny thing is, my dad doesn't even play fantasy, and he listens to all the best ball shows. He listens to everything, right? And it's like he knows football, but it's not as relevant to him. He just loves the idea of the show and just listening to me and all of you guys and just like the tangents. And it's, we keep it entertaining. So it's like if someone that, besides the fact he's my dad, if you can just watch the show for 4 hours and not really care about the subject matter too much, but it's the other stuff, right, that we bring, the other stuff, and that Storey brings with his little 8th grade military haircut.
Yeah, I shaved yesterday too, so we're getting nice and clean, huh?
We got Cruz in here, signs up for the YouTube membership. He's already a member on Patreon. Cruz just supporting his boy. Says congrats on the 3K milestone, big homie. Not that big anymore. I've lost some poundage for sure. Played 36 holes of golf today in that heat, so I definitely lost some weight doing that.
Dude, it was steamy out there today.
Throwback to my Tucker Craft statement. My brother, my lover, my friend, my favorite channel on YouTube. You're making me blush, man. I'm also rock hard as well. So fucking shout out Cruz. I can't wait to see. I know Cruz is going to tune in a lot more during the season because we've just been putting content out just to have fun and have conversations, but it's getting real now. And 29 days, we're inside of a month. This is, we've been waiting for this since literally February.
Yeah, a bit of a tease though. We get the Hall of Fame game last week, and then we don't get anything other than training camp again until Thursday of this week. So we go a full week without football. They gave us the Hall of Fame game, which was the best Hall of Fame game that I can ever remember. And now we got to wait until Thursday this week. Kind of garbage, if you ask me.
At least we have, college football starting early too, which is some real games. Preseason something. The Hall of Fame game I don't count as actual football. Blake says Storey is the fucking man.
Thank you, Blake. Solid.
Thursday slate coming. Our first big competition against each other. God, dude, we got into a best ball draft, and who was it? Someone wanted to do a 10-man just because he's in a 10-man league. Silent. I think it's Silent. It's somebody. And I'm drafting the teams with him. It's actually, no, it's Junkbuster. And he's in a 10-man. Let's do a 10-man underdog together. And we joined a preseason one. None of us realized it was preseason. It was 6 rounds. Dakota's taken like Carson Beck in the first round. We're all making fun of him. And he automatically wins. And it was hilarious. But live and learn, man. We're second and third still up for grabs. He has all the back players. Yeah, dude. Can you believe they had that option on underdog?
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
And it was 9 of us and 1 random dude. And like the random dude was taking like, Drake May and like starting players. So he didn't know what he was doing either. And Dakota's over there. We're all making fun of him. And he's taking guys that are actually going to be playing in this game. So he automatically wins. But we have second and third up for grabs. We have Trubisky and Xavier Hutchinson. So I hope those guys.
Yeah. State's own.
There we go. What's up, K-Space? So we have a giant show on tap. We got to get to a lot of news in a couple minutes, but this is our quest to find the next like multiple league-winning running backs. And I'm going to show you guys the graphic here real quick. And shout out to Kenneth, who kind of turned me on this, not just the segment, but the criteria. He sent me an article that had 3 criteria on there, and I was like, that's not enough. I'm going to do a point system. We're going to break this all down for you guys. We're going to go through from running back 25 all the way down to running back 7. I'm going to leave out all the first round guys because they're already essentially getting drafted as league winners. But here's the criteria we're going to go through, and we're going to have point values on all these things. So elite pass catching, goal line dominance, explosive runs / talent. That's an individual player thing. Elite offense and elite snap share. So we're going to go 1 through 10. And, like Jahmyr Gibbs hits a 10 on all these, right? Like maybe pass catching is a 9 for Gibbs. But Gibbs is higher than Bijan. I went through it, and Bijan is not tied to an elite offense. Where like every one of these categories, Gibbs pretty much has a 10 on. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, Gibbs is set up for an absolutely epic year, like a monster year. Like, I could realistically see a 2,000-yard all-purpose yard season and 14 touchdowns for Gibbs this year? I mean, that's within the realm of possibility.
I would say Gibbs would be like a 48. I probably put him at 9 for snap share because they will use another back there. It's not going to be Jonathan Taylor level we saw last year. And then the pass catching is probably a 9. Everything else is literally a 10. So that's the bar, right. 50 is the bar. And if we could get some of these guys in the 4th and 5th round that end up having 42 points, like doesn't mean they're floor. This is not a floor conversation at all. This is just not even like 1% outcomes. This is what we perceive. And if things can go right, then this guy could be a league winner. Before we get to all that though, so that's the segment we're going to be doing. I do want to hit you with, there's a lot of news. I was golfing today, like I said. Every hour, I just check Roto World and check the Discord real quick. Sorry if I didn't respond to anyone today. I was super busy. But there was another injury popping off, and there's a lot of stuff. So let's get to some news.
Guys, I got news. I've got terrible news.
Oh, so this is exactly what I wanted a vacation from.
There are 2 guys in this church that are gay.
Who's the other guy?
I don't get the joke.
Yeah, he's never gonna understand.
What's wrong with that?
We should start with something funny, and it's J.K. Dobbins. Like, soft tissue, J.K. Dobbins, like, it's synonymous with each other. And, you know, he said he wanted to play all 17 games. Like, good luck with that. Just, it's already happened. I mean, it's better now than it would be start of September. I understand that. But, you know, if you're drafting R.J. Harvey, you're feeling pretty good about this. If you have him in Dynasty or, you know, you have a lot of him in best ball. Jonah Coleman as well. I mean, it's already happened, Storey. So do you have any thoughts on this one?
Peyton said he's going to be fine, right? They said they're just being, quote, smart with it, I think was what he said. His practice participation is certainly going to be impacted this week. If he's back by Friday's preseason opener, at least I'm not sure. I doubt that he would play with this at this point, but if he's back to practice by then, I think he can just rule it as a blip. But realistically, we have to be concerned about this. And it's not, I mean, Dobbins is a friendly reminder that these guys that injure themselves in preseason, there's an increased chance for most of these injuries. There's an increased chance of re-aggravation. Some of the guys that we'll talk about, like Cam Scatterbo and Quinshon Judkins, realistically, once those are healed, they're healed. But it's going to take time for them to ramp up to pre-injury efficiency and production levels. Other guys like Malik Neighbors, Mike Evans, there's a higher risk of re-injury to those, especially soft tissue injuries like this. So, yeah, I think you have to move Dobbins down your board just on this alone.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Like, soft tissue stuff is the stuff that will, you know, you have an increased chance of having it happening again. Where like Alec Pierce, for instance, with the ankle injury, like those are lingering and like they will definitely take away from the. Hold on, there you go. We're back. Ankle injuries will limit the player's explosiveness, but they're not going to be re-aggravated, right? As often as soft tissue. If you get a soft tissue, good luck. You see this thing pop up all the time. So that's just funny, right? Are you laughing about this? Are you sad about this? Or are you just expected this already?
I mean, I'm sad about this. He certainly was not this type of injury-prone player at Ohio State. So his body doesn't seem to be acclimated to the NFL. And are there other guys like that? Who's another example? Jalen Waddle, Woody Marks, like guys that just can't seem to get past the speed, the strength, the need for flexibility, whatever it is. You know, this is good for Harvey, but I think it's really good news. None of this is good news. Let's just say that. But if you are a Jonah Coleman truther, I think you've got to be keeping your ears open about this.
Certain guys, it happens a lot in the NBA with big men. Like they have the lower body stuff, and they just can never shake it, and that just becomes their career. And this sucks, man. But again, I'm probably drafting R.J. Harvey with a little more confidence, and Jonah Coleman, like he's probably fine for the regular season. But the point is, this already happened. And Jonathan says, "Buddy, Pinky promised to be healthy." Pinky promises I actually do with my wife all the time, and you got to hold those up. That's a big thing. It's a big thing. All right, next one. Not on a more serious notes. Jalen Waddle. Actually, no, it's not a serious. It's funny again because same team. And like, I have not been drafting Waddle. I've been taking Tet McMillan and Terry McLaurin and Garrett Wilson over him. And now I'm just very happy because it's just the same shit with him. It's soft tissue. He's not been the biggest soft tissue merchant, but he's a tent merchant. And they're going to be very good this year. If he does have another injury like this, I can see them being extra cautious. You know how they did with Devontae Adams last year with LA? It's like, just keep him out. We need him for the playoffs. Now, they're not the Rams level team, but Denver is probably going to make the playoffs this year. So maybe lower snap share. I don't know. It's just not good for Waddle. It's just the same old shit.
I mean, prior to this, even after this, this feels more precautionary than anything else. They're talking about muscle tightness, muscle soreness. they can be very cryptic with injuries in the preseason or in training camp. So we don't really know the extent of this. He was on the field. He was going through mental reps. So he was there. I mean, you do have to be considering his injury history. At the same point, he could be set up to smash in this offense that threw the that had the fourth highest passing grade of any team last year. Bo Nix, who should take another step forward. Cortland Sutton on the opposite side, not a huge alpha, not going to draw a ton of targets there. And then Pat Bryant and Troy Franklin kind of rotating through, not a ton of target competition. He could be set up to smash if he stays on the field.
You mentioned mental reps, which is big for a player like Waddle, who, yeah, he's a veteran, but it's a new situation, new system, new quarterback. Like, those things matter. Where, if it was Cortland Sutton, for instance, I'd be less worried. Like, he already knows the offense. He's got a connection with Bo Nix. So just something that's just not good. We just don't want this. If I had like 18% Waddle or something in best ball right now, I'd be a little concerned. It's just not what you want to hear, and especially with the mental rep stuff. And you can go through walkthroughs all you want, like, the actual connection matters, and the on-the-job stuff matters. Next one here, Laremy Tunsil. So this is a major injury, and, the Commanders were already kind of an easy team to fade. Last year was the easiest fade, but, getting Diggs there is nice, but this offensive line already has question marks, and I understand Jaden Daniels is super elite at, he's hard to get down, not quite Caleb Williams level. He's hard to tackle. He's elusive. He doesn't need an elite offensive line, but this running back group already sucks. So, like, if you're not going to have a running game and now you have some more pressure on Jaden Daniels, like, he's a guy like Drake May and the bigger quarterbacks, they're not going to get injured. But, like, if Jaden Daniels takes a couple big hits, good fucking luck keeping him healthy. Blindside hits. And this is just not what you want to hear. Are you downgrading any Commanders because of this? I know it would hurt Terry McLaurin the most because he operates downfield. This is just a rough injury, and Tunsil needs that gas mask right now because he's in pain.
Yeah, poor Laremy Tunsil, looking like this could be a season injury. So they'll have a better timeline after he actually gets out from under the knife. But as of right now, I would rule him out. I'm not moving anybody yet. I want to see how things develop in preseason. They said that they're going to probably move Brandon Coleman over to left tackle. And now he played left tackle as a rookie 2 years ago. And he also filled in 3 games when Tunsil was out last year. So I don't know how much of it's a big downgrade, don't get me wrong, but I don't know how much we were really banking on this tough, man. I don't want like, can one offensive lineman make a difference in a team's overall, like, win total, reception total for a player? It's difficult to think that one player is going to make a difference, but when they're this impactful on the offensive line,
right?
Yeah,
they need them, and they were reinforcing this whole line. Now it's right back to where it was, and where it was not good. It was not in a good place, and, like, Jaden Daniels can operate. I'm just more worried about, maybe you could say Terry McLaurin because he needs more time to throw the Terry McLaurin, but if Jaden Daniels is not available, this team is fucked for one, and the fantasy assets all take a hit. And this, if anything, just, Jaden Daniels is already a fucking twig. And, like, he already has more injury risk than a guy like Josh Allen or even Drake May, like I mentioned. This just increases the risk of this offense as a whole. And, if you can't run the ball, like I said, they're going to have a hard time running the ball already. Rashad White's the running back one. He's a 4 yards a carry guy at best. Not a dynamic player. Like, JCM, okay, can't catch passes. Like, they have issues there, and this is just not helping anything. We have one last one to get to. What do you got?
I'll just leave it with this. It's a lot more difficult for me now to see any Commanders overachieving by a significant margin in fantasy leagues now that Tunsil has gone down. And it was kind of difficult to get there initially outside of Terry McLaurin. Now, I'm not sure that you can think of anybody who's going to overperform based on their ADP with Laremy Tunsil no longer there.
Guys, we'll get to all the comments before the segment. We have one more player to talk about, and this one, we might not see Big Ray for a while because we have Luther Burden. Officially, we were speculating about this one. Officially out a month and hopes to play week 1. Let's start here. Chances that we see Luther Burden week 1 against the Panthers.
Pretty high. I mean, a month is not the end of the world. I think they're being really cautious with him. But this suddenly, like, we were all in on the Bears offense, or a lot of people were. Their wide receiver core is surprisingly thin outside of Rome Odunze and Luther Burden. So Colson Loveland's going to have to take a major step forward, but I mean, it's frustrating for a super hyped up wide receiver who was going where in the late 4th round, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, mid to late 4th, man. Pick 42.
Yeah, I was never, I was go back and watch hot take segment, but I think this has got to slow his role significantly. So slow me down on him. There's enough other wide receivers in that range that I'm happy to draft, and I'll either wait to scoop him up if he drops due to the injury, or I'll be okay with others taking the risk here. There's a big risk of re-injury for this type of injury throughout the season. He'll probably play 14 games if I were to speculate. I think he'll be there week 1. He'll probably slightly below expectations. The ramp-up period after a month off is going to be pretty quick, though. But I wouldn't expect him to play a full season. I would expect 2 or 3 games missed.
I don't want to take a victory lap on this, but I went back and looked at my exposures. And me and Ray have had many arguments about Luther Burden, including the Antonio Brown comp argument, which was an entire video we released. It was 20 minutes long. It was hilarious. But I have 13% Roma Dunze and 3% Luther Burden. So I was already fading Burden at his ADP. I will say this, though, for those best ball drafters out there, now is probably, I know it's a risk. It was, in my mind, 42 when he was healthy was a risk because that's a pretty penny already. If he falls to 60, like I just thought Odunze and Burden should have been drafted back to back. I still always preferred Burden for the inherent upside, especially in best ball. But if you can start getting Luther Burden at 60 right now, take the dip, because that level of receivers, when you're down there, you're not passing on guys that are, for sure things. So definitely, I'm going to start taking a lot more Luther Burden now if I get him around pick 60. That would probably make sense. An 18 pick dip just based on the uncertainty. And like you mentioned, there is a higher chance of re-injury. And he could miss a couple games to start the year. We don't know.
Pick 6? You think he's going to drop that far?
He was already getting faded a little bit just because the steam was too high at 42. He was like 44, 45. And then when there was uncertainty, he was going like 51. Now we know he's out a month. And missing the first week, it's like now you have to worry about week 2 and what's his snap share. We might not get full Luther Burden till week 4. He was also already a wild card, man. Like those things, now we're mixing in a lot of risk here. A lot of risk with Luther Burden.
I mean, if you're just looking at the numbers, only something like 15% of grade what grade is he? A grade 2 or grade 1 groin strain, whatever it is. He only,
I didn't see.
Yeah. Well, I think like his average time, like a month is a little longer than I would have thought. If it's a grade 1, I would have thought maybe 2 weeks. This is probably a grade 2, but only 15% of wide receivers miss more than 5 weeks, which would put him on track to play in the regular season. So I wouldn't be too concerned about him missing. I would be concerned about the ramp-up period. There's still, I mean, Luther Burden was a rookie last year. It's still a relatively new offense. It's still a complicated offense. You want those reps in practice, right? You want to be able to gel with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams wasn't exactly the pinnacle of accuracy last year. No. So those timing routes that need to be worked on are not getting worked on. I think there's enough here to slow me down. I don't know that I would touch Luther Burden in the 4th round, and I would be hard-pressed to draft him in the 5th round now.
Right now, if you had a draft, if you were drafting an underdog team in best ball or even a redraft league, it's uncertain, but would you take Odunze or Burden right now?
Odunze.
Well, you were almost there before the injury, though.
Correct? I was close. Yeah, I was really close.
Same.
I still have I never moved Burden up over Odunze in rankings. Like, I know that it basically flip-flopped, but I never got there. I just could not understand. Because in the 4th round, we're not necessarily drafting Luther Burden at his ceiling, but we are drafting Luther Burden at a very increased role that we hadn't seen before. We didn't see it even at the end of the year. Like, they slow played him very significantly. So there's a lot of wish casting about the role, moving him around the formation, similar to Amon-Ra St. Brown, that I'm just, I want to, a 4th round pick is not a 10th round pick or an 8th round pick or a 6th round pick. 4th round pick is a significant investment. And I want to know that for sure that role is going to be there before I jump in.
So the St. Brown thing never made any sense. It's a great role. You know who's a great role with Jared Goff, because Jared Goff is great at hitting little slants and digs out of the slot. Like, it's not a great role with Caleb, at least right now in Caleb's career. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not the archetype of on-time passer. He doesn't want to really be. I know Ben Johnson wants him to be, and he'll be better. But like, that's a role for Jared Goff, right? That's the Puka role it was great for Jared Goff. Like Luther, if that was Luther Burden's role, yes, we prefer it over the X receiver because that's also not his archetype. But like, whenever I heard that, I was like, that's cool and all, but like, does that even jive with Caleb. And the last thing I want to say is at least it wasn't a meniscus.
He had a meniscus issue, which what totally tanked Derrick Rose's career.
Dr. Ray.
So in 2 weeks, let's just finish here. I think the answer is a Doomsday. In 2 weeks, if we're having the same reports, he's questionable for week 1. And you have 3 leagues, and you have that spot. Probably, let's call it mid-5th round. Are you clicking all Odunze, one Burden? If you want to buy into this Bears offense, is that worth the risk? Mid-5th round. You're talking about pick 54, say, in redraft.
Yeah. If I haven't, it is a discount, and if the reports are accurate, and this is a groin strain that keeps him out it's a grade 1 groin strain, keeps him out for the rest of the preseason. Maybe they're just being overly cautious. I think I would like to take some shots on him in the mid-5th round if I haven't been drafting. We're hopefully within a 2-week period, we get some reports that things are improving, and we should see him back on the field soon.
All right. We have Shiva in here. Storey is a cool, calm dude. Definitely knows ball. Will be a fun guy to watch football and grab some beers with. Don't you mean tea? Grab some tea with? Fucking beers.
You stupid fuck. Go buy some sandals. Go buy some sandals.
You want to fight? I'll fucking fight. I haven't fought in 10 years. I'm fighting that. What you got? What you got? Let's see. Throw down, bitch. Throw down, bitch.
That stupid fuck was not directed at you, Shiva. I know after I played it kind of seemed like that. It's directed at Storey, who loves tea, and I love beer. But that's why he's so much healthier than me, right?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of empty calories in beer. So during the week, I tend to, unless there's something going on, I tend to stick away from it. But I drank way too much on Saturday night. Had some friends in from Texas. They brought us some stuff from Buc-ee's. They brought some really, really nice tequila. We had some old fashions. Yeah, things got a little out of hand.
Dude, instead of calling it empty calories, can we just call it Bucky Irving's? Last year, Bucky Irving roll when he came back, empty calories.
No, we call it the Blake Corums.
Hey, Blake Corum scores touchdowns though, bro.
Yeah, at a 33
what do
to
you mean,
6.
Yeah. Blake Corum actually gets goal line carries. Bucky Irving doesn't get anything like that. He gets 4.5 yards a carry if he's lucky, and it's all between the 20s.
I think you're forgetting his rookie year. Yeah, plenty of goals.
It was a joke, dude. But also at the end of the year, when he came back from the injury, I'm talking about that sample of 6 games. That's called the Bucky Irving empty calories. Right. That was the right. Okay. Can we call it the Najee Harris? Najee Harris is empty calories.
I was gonna say trying to think of what the hell was the guy's name? Oh man,
Peyton Hills.
LeGarrette Blunt. LeGarrette Blunt.
LeGarrette Blunt scored a bunch of touchdowns. All right, we're off topic. Canoe built. Aloha, guys. Best strategy at the 112 PPR, 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, flex 12 team. I mean, this year, I love the receivers going at the 3-4 turn. You get Ted McMillan, Garrett Wilson, guys like that. So I'm probably going running back because all the receivers, I mean, Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb will probably be gone. So I'm not going to pull up at A.J. Brown or Drake London. I love Drake London. That would be the one. I'm not pulling those wide receivers up. So I'm just going to take 2 running backs, right? Take Saquon, take Genty, take Cook, whoever falls. And then you just smash wide receiver after that. I think that's the best way because you don't want to pull up a receiver, right, to the 13th pick.
Unless CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson drops.
Correct.
Which, I don't know, in a PPR, probably unlikely to happen. But yeah, the guys going right behind him, I would love to get in the middle of the second round, but early first round, there's tons of running back talent there. You want to find a pass catcher though, right? So who's the best guy on the board? We hope that James Cook is going to get more pass catching work this year. They've talked about it, but we know who the pass catcher is in Philadelphia. So Saquon Barkley should be your top choice right there.
Genty, if he's there for sure, and then James Cook. I'm still taking James Cook over Barkley, and we didn't mention this. We didn't talk about it in the news items. This was a couple days ago. But Ty Johnson
in a PPR.
If the Ty Johnson injury is serious, 100%. Ty Johnson might be out for a long time. If that's the case, Ray Davis to the fucking moon.
Wow, Ty Johnson. Okay, interesting. Because do you think Ty Johnson being out affects James Cook that much?
Oh yeah, dude. Ty Johnson was playing on 40% of third downs last year. And they're not going to trust Ray Davis for that. So what they would do is probably play Ray Davis. They'd mix up Ray Davis and James Cook on third downs, give Ray Davis a few more early down snaps, and then get James Cook more pass catcher because James Cook's a pretty good pass catcher. Yeah, it affects them that much for sure. They would bring someone else in, but they love Ty Johnson there, man.
Yeah, I know. I doubt that they would go into the season if this Ty Johnson injury was serious without another guy there.
I'm still taking James Cook over Barkley. I'm really high on Barkley. It's really close for me, but give me the Bills offense. Like, I have no questions with the Bills offense. I still have some questions with the Eagles offense. Just a smidge.
Okay. I have fewer questions about the Eagles offense, especially with how healthy Lane Johnson is this year.
All right. Fucking Derek got the 12th pick in our 12-man PPR league, the community league, the first one we're doing. And the draft, it's a slow draft coming up. And he's like 2 running backs at 12 and 13 noted. So we just gave Derek the strategy. Derek, you're the fucking American Sniper, Chris Kyle. You don't need my advice. Derek just watched the show to see my handsome face and see Storey's hair. Storey's about to hurt some feelings with this one. He said and Jonathan says you should do a coach one. They'd all be fucking ones.
I'm a tough grader, man. So buckle up, Buckaroos.
League winner Swift, except Monungai takes goal line work. And also I want to say for this segment, so we're going to get into talk about it here in a second, but we're not with Hendy, for instance, we're not factoring in if Stevenson goes down. Like, this is as is, everyone stays healthy, because Hendy he might be the answer anyway, but like we can't factor in like that, because Blake Corum would be in this list then too, because if something happens to Kyron Williams, guess what? He's the number one. Like, he's a top 5, top 10 running back. So we're not going that far.
Top 12.
Seemingly. Fuck you. Worthy may be one of those guys if he doesn't put on some burgers on his stomach. Worthy's tiny. Are you softening on Worthy? He's still not practicing.
You have to. He landed awkwardly on the same shoulder that he had the torn labrum when he wore the brace last year. I don't know. That whole cheese off, like, passing offense, I think Kenneth Walker's in a great spot, because what are they realistically going to do? Like, Rashee Rice gets to work, but like he gets a ton of volume, but he's not a great wide receiver. If that makes sense.
Fucking plays over 13 games until I see it. And I'm still drafting Rashee Rice. The point is, there's a lot of outs for Kenneth Walker to be this league winner.
Yeah, so like, because Kelsey could be dust, or he could just be strictly a role player. I'm supposed to be excited about Cyrus Allen and Tyquan Thornton. Like, come on.
Tyquan for sure. Now Cyrus Allen's going ahead of Tyquan Thornton. It makes no sense. He already has a rapport.
Okay. It's ridiculous. Like,
thank you.
Sixth round, dude. I'm sick of the Jacoby Lane hype too. What are we talking about here? We're talking about 5th and 6th round rookies. Like, the guy, you know what the average hit rate of a guy to hit 10 fantasy points per game for a rookie that was drafted in the 6th round is? It's like 4%. So you want to take what, a 1 in 20 shot? You think that's a worthwhile pick in redraft? I guess in redraft, because you could drop whatever.
You know what really grinds my gears? This Lindsay Lohan. Eh? Lindsay Lohan with all those little outfits, jumping around there on stage, half naked with your little outfits. You know, you're up there jumping around, and I'm just sitting here with my beer. So, you know, what am I supposed to do? What do you want? You know, are we gonna go out? Is that what you're trying to? Why are you leaping around there, throwing those things all up over there in my face? Huh? What do you want, Lindsay? Tell me what you want.
We already got a grinds my gears segment. This is gonna be a good show. 30 minutes in, I love it. Usually that's reserved for the last 30 minutes. So that tea is fucking strong today, guys. Lemon is already hurt, and this is a situation we're talking about with Jalen Waddle, but Waddle's not a rookie. Like, you mix rookie, first time,
big difference.
Not good.
It's reportedly a minor hamstring strain, minimal injury concerns, minimal re-injury risk for a guy of his age and his athletic profile, unless this lingers. So you got to keep an eye on that. But missing camp time, there's a direct correlation between rookies missing camp time and a dip in rookie wide receiver stats early. So I would not expect, if Lemon continues to miss time, I wouldn't expect a whole lot of production from him in the first 6-8 weeks of the season.
Connor, what's up, Connor? Shout out to Connor. Says Sutton stock going up. We have Cruz, Tunsil, the 420 beast, 100%. He fucking ripped that gas mask, dude. Sutton's ranked number 16 in odds for TDs on the books. I'm guessing in receivers, because he's going wide receiver 40, 45, 44. He's at, I think, 7.5 touchdowns. Him and DK Metcalf are guys that we want to push up in half PPR. Full PPR, the appeal isn't quite there. I know Storey's just like, this doesn't matter. It does matter, Storey, and touchdowns matter a lot more in half. And Sutton's a guy that's going to have 9 or 10 touchdowns potentially. Same with DK, but they're never going to have 90 receptions. It's never going to happen. Just
Great.
looking at me.
Great.
You son of a bitch. What's up, Vegeta? How you doing, man? Emmett Johnson got laid the fuck out in practice today. Hey, good reports for our boy Emmett Johnson, though. He's my boy, but we have him in Dynasty. And I think all that DeMarcado hype, that's why we should never pay attention to that. It was too much. I gotta see it.
You got laid out, huh? Emmett Johnson.
I didn't see it.
Surprise, surprise.
Hetzer said he sent it in the Discord. What's up, Hetzer? How you doing, man? All these fucking injuries in training camp. This is why I don't want to draft my fantasy teams until after the preseason. Agreed. When you do 40 redrafts like me, you got to spread them out. I don't do mine until I'm starting majority of mine on the 22nd, just like all of our community leagues. That's like pretty much with 2 games left in the week 3 preseason slate. At that point, anything can happen. But you remember the year a couple years ago when both Dobbins and who was the big fat running back on the Ravens that got hurt? Gus Edwards. Both like tore their Achilles and ACL 2 days before the season started. That sucked. There's nothing you could do there because that was literally that was their last practice. That was like their walkthrough practice on Saturday it was on Friday before 2 days before the season started. So that shit happens. Saquon, your boy, lost a lot of weight, looks faster, and the life looks revamped. But then again, training camp hype thoughts. I'm going to believe this one because Saquon was definitely fat last year, and it was he wasn't in the best shape because they just won the Super Bowl. Well, that's a fucking fact that people do this. And it was after 450 touches. Like, that combination and the offensive line, the play calling, but it was mostly he didn't look the same. That was a big problem. And if he's slimmed down, that's good news.
Yeah, it's good, especially good news for the pass catching. Again, I have fewer concerns about the Eagles' offense than you seem to do. I think the health of the offensive line, the new play caller there, I think we are looking at all wheels up for the Eagles' offense. So this is great news for Saquon.
JD5 and Rashad White got that Arizona State connection. Storey is just salivating now because if you guys didn't know, Storey won a couple college football fantasy championships because of the Arizona State connection, right?
I mean, Arizona State has been a huge part of college fantasy football for me for over a decade.
I'm kind of in the same agreement, Vegeta. Now I might be in on drafting Luther Burden because it was a risky pick at 42 when he was healthy. If it goes to 60, I'm going to probably start smashing Luther Burden and just draft accordingly. Maybe draft Josh Downs, your boy, who's going to outscore him anyway. But draft some floor players. Like, you wouldn't want to take Luther Burden and Alec Pierce at the same time. You can draft accordingly and almost project that he misses some games, whether that be mid-season or early in the season. And ultimately, it's going to help your team if you draft accordingly. We got DB in here. Just got on the phone with him earlier. I'm going to draft a team with him. DB Ball, a old school member of the Patreon of the community. Shout out to DB. Give me Tootin as a league winner. Story. Hey, man, hope all is well. Rob, buddy. What's up, DB?
We're going to talk about Tootin?
We're about to, yeah.
I'm just gonna hold some thoughts back. So
good, Jonathan. The fact that Lemon is still missing time and nursing a hamstring injury, he has a history playing in college is a big thing too. So I don't know about the injury, the hamstring stuff, but it's just there's a lot of stuff. I was already out on Lemon in the first place, guys. I have 1% Lemon. Hey, 1% Lemon and underdog right now.
He doesn't have a history of injuries. Like, he didn't miss any games. He had a hamstring strain in spring practice, but it was super minor. I mean, he won the Bolitnikoff last year. He had a concussion in 23 or 20. I think he's only missed like one game in his entire college career. So I don't know that I would call it an injury history.
Vegeta, I feel like St. Brown can see less with Gibbs seeing more. Okay, if Gibbs sees more, there's less for the backup running back, right? Pacheco's already hurt. So
St. Brown's getting his regardless. Like there's
that defense is trash. You know what I mean? Like, it's St. Brown is St. Brown. It's safest pick in fantasy.
Not trash. It's bottom half, but it's not trash.
Bro, their secondary is trash. Can I say that?
Yes, their secondary is pretty bad.
We got Jay in here. Says he's the only one that smashed Hendy I have a poll up with 4 players. Jay is the biggest Hendy fan in the world. So you know what, Jay? I've not been on Hendy since Ohio State. I take him in best ball because he's a best ball player. He's going to have some fucking spike weeks, but I don't know. We're going to get to Hendy in a second, but this is my Hendy impersonation.
Yeah, Dad. You need some of this.
This is cum.
Cruz says Tyquan Thornton better than Worthy. You know what? We have Thornton in our dynasty. We had Worthy as well. We have quite a bit of Chiefs. We traded Worthy, so we're feeling good because we got Mike Evans. We just had to give up a first rounder.
Yeah, I mean, Worthy could be back. It's a strain. It's different than the labrum issue he had, so he could be back. But anytime it's in the same area, you re-injure the same area, you still get a little nervous, right? Like I know it's technically a different, just like we talked about with Kittle. Like, oh, it's the good kind of Achilles tear. Like there's such a thing.
I will say we also got Ted Hurst too, which is looking pretty tasty with the injury to McMillan. I'm not too worried about McMillan, but
his prior injuries aren't knee related. I'm not really worried about it.
This is for you because me and Junkbuster, shout out to Junkbuster. He is the newest member of the Fanatics crew in the Patreon. Just want to shout Junkbuster out, and it's probably for you because I'm drafting a team with him, and he's not in on Jutkins, and I am on Jutkins. So there's Junkbuster down there. Appreciate you, man. So higher floor and ceiling, Jutkins or Monty, because Monty goes about 7 or 8 picks higher, so it is a higher cost. But give me because they both are good floor plays. Monty has a higher ceiling based on the offense and how good that defense is. Is that your answer? Or
definitely, yeah. Monty's got the higher floor just based on the offense. Or excuse me, the higher ceilings based on that offense alone and the work that we expect. At the same time, Woody Marks is not going anywhere. He's not going away. So Judkins is going to have passing down work siphoned from him, especially in his Todd Monken system. But I think Judkins probably has the higher floor because you can realistically punch him in for 18 to 20 touches per game.
We got Whohames in here. I put his channel on the Discord, guys. Go check him out. Give him a sub as well. Dude knows ball. He's going to be in the Iron Thrones League with me, a fellow content creator, great dude. Shout out to you, man. Derek ended up getting Shaheed and Coker both in that draft that I sent you the question. That's nice. Who do you want in half BPR best ball? Shaheed or Coker? Because Coker definitely a better redraft player, but in best ball, what do you got?
Shaheed.
I love Shaheed, but I also love taking Torrey Horton. Torrey Horton's one of my most drafted receivers late.
You also have to be
18th
willing
round.
Like if we're not talking best ball, you got to be willing to cut these guys. You can't get enamored with the name and keep them on your roster if the guy's getting 6 fantasy points a week.
Connor, Jeff Caldwell going to be a dog for the Chiefs. You're not a fan, right?
Not really.
I can tell. What's going to be the ideal draft for a 10-man pick 110? Man, you're probably take a wide receiver in the first round if you can get Lamb, or because you can get Lamb or Jefferson, then you hammer running back in the second round, then you're flexible. I like going 1-1 if I can help it, if I'm not reaching for a player, because then your third and fourth round is just wide open for you.
I'll take
we got Wally. Rob with the sexy man story. He loves you, dude. He loves you. All right. We got to move on. That was a lot of comments. We have a long segment to get to. So I'm going to hit you guys with the intro, and then we're going to get into our Finding the Next Running Back League winning segment. 30 seconds. Be back. We have 5 categories, 1 through 10. I don't think anyone's going to have a 0 at any of these categories. 1 through 10, and then that's 50 total points. And then we're going to add, if it's a 5th-round running back, we add 5 points because they're a 5th-rounder. We're not doing any first-round running backs. If they're a 2nd-round running back, you add 2 points. And then we're going to try to figure out who has the highest score, who do we like. And we're kind of just going to go through this, have conversations, and maybe some arguments. And we're going to settle on a number for each one. And so if you say 6, I say 4, we're going to go with 5. Our powers combined, guys in the chat, do the same thing. What you think if we're way off on something? We're going to do opposite. We're going to start at running back 25 and then move our way to the 2nd round. We're going to start with Hendy and go all the way to Saquon Barkley. We're not doing Genty or James Cook. We're going to the guys going in the 2nd round. That's where we're going to cut it off for league winners. So first name here is Travion Henderson. And I'm not a fan, but for this league winning segment, we can't deny this. So talk it through, Storey. What do you got for Travion Henderson? Pass catching, goal line, explosives, all these things.
Well, you want to start at the top or How do you want to?
Yeah, let's start at the top. So elite pass catching. What would you rank his pass catching? Because he is really good with the ball in his hands, but his hands are a little overrated, if you ask me. What do you have for this 1 through 10?
I mean, okay. So this is. I need to make sure we're on the same page because this is strictly pass catching, or is this all around pass work? Because pass protection, right? Or is that part of the
that affects his snap share? Yeah.
Okay.
So it's his hands, and then what he does with the ball, which is obviously really good. What he does with the ball in his hands when he makes the catch. So just pass catching as a pass catching running back.
Yeah, I mean, what do you have? 35 receptions last year, 221 receiving yards on limited work. I'd say he's a pretty good pass catcher. Elite pass catching is it's tough to get there, but I'd put him at a 7. I think the numbers speak for themselves. His rushing EPX was 83, which is okay. It's not great, but other thing when you roll into the hands, the work that he got in college, would love to see him kind of. They brought in Judkins, and so they split work. But Henderson was the third down back there at Ohio State. So I'd put him at a 7.
I agree. I was between 6 and 8, so we'll settle at 7. Guys, you can keep on getting your comments in. We're going to try to power through this segment, though. So if you have something pressing, drop a $2 super chat, and I will pause the segment for your question. We'll go 7 there. Goal line dominance. Stevenson seems to have the lead here. So I'm leaning like 4 to 5 on this one. Now, let's also factor in that they're going to have a lot of goal line carries. They're going to be in the red zone a lot. So that maybe put it up to 5, just based on the fact that he's going to have more opportunities. We can kind of tailor it that way a little bit too. So is 5 fair to you for goal line dominance? Because he's not the lead goal line back. If anything, at best, it's a 50-50 split.
He's also not the biggest guy in the world, right? He's 202 pounds. He doesn't really have a nose for the end zone. 28th percentile BMI. Not really thinking that you don't look at TreVeyon Henderson and think, oh, that guy's a goal line back. I think 5 is a good number there. He does score, but he's probably comparable to like Reggie Bush in terms of his goal line work.
Yeah, a little bigger than Reggie, but that's fair. Explosive runs / talent. So explosive runs, he's diarrhea, man. That's probably a 10. But the talent, I still am not totally sold. So I'm leaning around like an 8 or a 9 for this one, because this is definitely high up there in terms of his vision. This doesn't count vision because his vision sucks. I mean,
I would have put him at an 8 before last year, and just on the metrics, 92nd percentile 40-yard dash, 80th percentile speed score, 91st percentile burst score, and then you saw what he did in the NFL getting to the edge, and he was the number 1 in terms of big plays last year. So I think you have to go with a 9 for this.
For the big plays for sure. I'll give you 9. I feel like his vision sucks, but I don't have a category for that. It counts for talent though, because vision's part of it. Elite offense. This has got to be a 10 or a 9. Let's go 9. Is 9 cool?
I don't know that I want to go there. I think this is probably an 8. We're going to see some regression in the efficiency from Drake May. They also had a super easy schedule last year, and we saw when the competition got tough. They squeaked by in the playoffs, and they ended up getting throttled in the Super Bowl. They're going to have a first-place schedule this year. Remains to be seen. I'm not there with this offense yet. I would say 7 or 8.
Let's go. I'm going to go 7 since I thought the last one was an 8. Just to meet.
You can go 8, though. I think the addition of
I'm going 7. I'm going 7. What elite snap? You don't sell me on fucking going lower on Henderson. Elite snap share. What do you got on this one? Because this should probably be a 5. I mean, it's a 50-50 split. You could argue 4 for this one.
No, I mean, really,
injuries or fumbles.
I don't. 5 would be average, right? Like an average. Like everybody's in a committee. Every single back is in a committee for the most part, except for Jonathan Taylor. So, and he's a 10. But if you were saying 5, that'd be like, okay, so he's an average snap share for a back of his talent would be in the 60 to 65%. The fact is, he had a 40% snap share last year, he had a 49% opportunity share. Both of those are, he was 42 out of 45 qualifying running backs in snap share last year. I mean, I don't know what is going to change much, especially with reports coming out of camp that his pass protection needs a lot of work. I think this is a 3 for snap share.
All right, I'll give you a 3, and I'm going to change that to an 8 for the other one, just since the 3 is super low. I'm going to give him his props. That's a 32. So 32 out of possible 50. This is the first one we've done, so that's the baseline. Hendy does have a lot of stuff we want to look for in league-winning player, but there's some stuff that's obviously definitely some red flags. So Clearly, this is not a floor play by any stretch. The only reason it could be a floor play is tied to a good offense, elite when he has the ball in his hands, right? Like he's going to have some spike weeks, but again, not consistent. We have a 32 for Hendy. Let's move on to the next guy, Bucky Irving. And Bucky Irving pass catching, I'm thinking 8. Is that too high?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he was a great pass catcher in college. I mean, a really, really good pass catcher in college. Let me pull up the advanced stats here. You know, I guess, you know, target share only 11.3%. Would love to see that closer to 14%. Yeah, what did you put him at? A 7?
7 or 8.
Yeah.
I'm cool with 7. I'm cool with 7 on this one. He's pretty good.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, he was
pretty good with the ball in his hands too.
I mean, he came in the league and people thought that he was going to be a third down back, a pass catching back, right? And he's got a very similar frame to. He's probably like 10 pounds lighter than Henderson, I'd say. I think a 7 is pretty good for pass catching.
All right, goal line dominance. We just talked about the empty calories of Bucky Irving. Now, this could change, and I don't expect it to be like it was the end of last season, but he's not going to have the lion's share. I mean, whether that's Gainwell stealing some snaps if they're not on the actual goal line, or Sean Tucker. Is this like a 3?
I mean, he was number 46 in red zone touches last year. I think a lot of that had to do with the injury, though.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. 2025 was pretty rough. He had 45 red zone touches, was in 2024, number 9. So I think it's probably a 5.
All right, let's split the difference from last year and the year before. It's average. Oh, we'll say 5. We'll say 5.
Okay.
Explosive runs and talent. So explosive runs aren't really there, but the talent is there. The talent is there in terms of lateral agility and making guys miss. So I got to split the difference on both these, right? Because I could say explosive runs is like a 4 or a 3, but the talent's like an 8. So is this a 6? We want to say 6 for Bucky Irving?
Yeah, I think 6 is because his rushing EPX was number 46 out of qualifying running backs last year, but his receiving EPX, he was number 2, even with the injury. So explosive plays on receiving were very much there, but on running, they really weren't there. So split the difference, call it a 6, just in general for explosive plays / talent.
All right, I have 6 written down. Elite offense. Now, we had 8 for... We put 8 for Travion. This has got to be a 7, right? This got to be a little lower than the Pats. They have a relatively easy schedule, though, which this isn't part of the exercise, but it's going to help this offense. 7 sound fair for elite offense? 6, 7?
No, yeah. I mean, assuming Baker bounces back, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. That Bulls offense, I mean, he's more in line with the defense. I think. God, they really struggled at the end, the second half of last year. I want to say a 7, but I think a 6 is probably appropriate. Their offensive line still leaves a lot to be desired.
If we would vote, I think 6.5 is probably the answer, but we're not doing decimals.
Yeah.
And here's Jay's Hendy love is insane. Hendy has 8 hands, 5 goal line, 9 explosive runs, 8 elite offense, 6 snap share. Dude, 6 snap share is better than average. And like, he's not, that would mean he's 70. That would mean he's like a 65% snap player, right? 6 ain't no fucking way. I mean,
last year when he was on the field, he had a 63.4% snap share and a 68.2% opportunity share.
Hendy?
Oh,
this is for Hendy. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Hendy. Okay. Yeah.
Hendy's snap share was a 6 when Stevenson was hurt. But Stevenson's not hurt. So, like, there's just no way that we can go with a 6 for a snap share for Henderson.
Yeah,
this is a Henderson comment.
Who was the undrafted guy that was creeping in and taking work when Stevenson was down last year?
Yeah, he was. And then early in the year, we also had Antonio Gibson being a third kind of cog in there. So we have 7, 5, 6, 6 for Bucky. We have to finish out with snap share because Kenny Gainwell is going to take a lot. And now the amount of snaps that Tucker's going to take is not significant, but they're important snaps. How would you factor this in? Is this a 5 or a 6 for Bucky?
Oh, I think it's a 6 or a 7. I fully expect he's going to get back. I'm not really like people are worried about Kenneth Gainwell. I'm not really worried about like since when have we ever been worried about Kenneth Gainwell going anywhere and disrupting anything? I'm not really worried about it too much. And the whole Sean Tucker thing doesn't bother me whatsoever. So I would go 7, but if you want to go 6, I can.
I'm going to go 6. So
Okay.
Bucky's pretty balanced here, and then it makes a lot of sense. We have 7, 5, 6, 6, 6, Mark of the Beast. So that is 12 and 12, 20. We have 30 for Bucky. 30 for Bucky. Is that right? So 18 and 12. 30 for Bucky. And that's lower than Hendy. Is that fair, do you think? Because Hendy does have the archetype of league winner, but he has a big roadblock in his path.
Yeah, that's true. That's what's standing in Henderson's way right now is, well, 2 things. His inability to pass protect and Stevens.
Yeah. All right. Next guy here. We have Quinshawn Judkins, my boy, going running back 23. Elite pass catching. So we had 7 for Hendy, 7 for Bucky. I believe he's an underrated pass catcher. And the talks are about 3 down workload. I think it's somewhere in between what we saw last year and I love Sampson and what we're going to see this year. Is a 4 fair here or maybe a 5 just because he is capable? It's Jonathan Taylor level pass catching. And we also saw them not give Jonathan Taylor the pass catching work till later in his career. So he's going to be on the field 3rd downs. They're going to be trailing in a lot of games, which should help this. And I think he's a decent pass catcher, right? And definitely good with the ball in his hands. What do you have for a number here?
Yeah, I don't know. He's a fine pass catcher, but realistically in that offense, he's not going to be used. I think you have to consider the offense that he's in. His receiving EPX was basically non-existent last year, even before the injury. So he ran 9.6 routes per game last year. That's not really going to get it done. I would say from pass catching, he's probably a 2 or a 3.
I'm going to go 5. Storey is not part of this running back, the Judkins conversation. All right, I'll give you 3. I think that's low. I think 4 is way more fair. But if you said 2 or 3, I'm not going to just totally, take this segment over because it's my boy Judkins. We'll go 3 here. Goal line dominance. Now, we also have to factor in, I didn't have this written down, but the opportunities that you're going to have in the goal line. This would be a 10, honestly, because he gets the Wildcat stuff, and he's going to get all the goal line carries. But I think we need to go to 8 on this one just because I don't want to project teams, but it's also the Browns, so we can kind of project team, and they're not good. Although there's a lot of weapons there now, and 8 is 8 fair because it is it's a 10 if he was on another team.
Yeah, I mean, he only had 33 red zone touches last year. Now it was a shortened season, obviously, but in per game, he was number 27. So I would love to, from a guy who is 6 feet, 221 pounds. And benches in the 82nd percentile, I'd love to say he's a 10, but considering the offense that he's in,
yeah,
an 8 seems fair. Yeah,
8's good. All right, we have 8 for goal line, explosive runs and talent. So this is the exact opposite of Henderson, right? Like the explosive runs are worse than the talent. The talent is really good, at least in my personal opinion. And he's relatively explosive. Like he's a guy that's not going to take a 70-yarder to the house. He's a little bit more explosive than Bucky in terms of straight line speed. Is this fair for a 6 because of how he's a workhorse and how like the dude can break tackles? His lateral agility is solid, but he's not going to take a 70-yarder to the house. So I think 5 or 6 is fair here. I like 6 personally.
I think you're dead on with 6. His explosive play rating, it looks to be very average, like right in the yellow. So I'd love to say like this guy, he just doesn't have long speed either. We saw him get dragged down from behind several times last year.
Oh, elite offense. Get on to elite offense here. And I got to say 2. I mean,
I would say 1.
Well, I think there's still some chance. Dude, what they brought in, I'm not going to say 1 because I don't want to just say they're the worst offense in football is what you're saying. And it's probably the case, but I'm going to say 2. I'm going to give it 2.
Jeez, Peter, you're more excited than Adrian Peterson at an arboretum.
Daddy, what kind of tree is that?
Man, I want to beat you with so many things around here.
Because I'm not saying 3, so if you want to go 1, I think 2 is fair.
Fine. I would still say 1, but if you want to go 2, fine.
I want to go 2. I don't want my boy Judkins not to be on this list. And then elite snap share. This is weird because he gets all of the early down work. They're going to use him in the pass game a little bit. It's game script dependent is the biggest issue. So if he was on the Texans, this would be fucking 9. But he's in the Browns, and their defense is still pretty decent. Probably a 6 for this one because he's going to be on the field a lot. He still played a lot of snaps last year. And they're down by three touchdowns.
He played. So his snap share. What do you think his snap share was last year?
64%.
51%.
Okay, but that's factoring in some of the early stuff where he wasn't back. Go ahead.
Yeah, but his opportunity share was 67%. And I think that's a more important metric and something that we should look forward to. So, yeah, his weighted opportunities, 13.9 per game. So I fully expect that to go up. I would say snap share, probably 7 this year.
I'm going to go 8.
We're 7. Because they're still going to use.
All right, fine.
Get it in.
My guy.
I want to talk to Samson. Climb to the moon like that bitch Alice Cram.
We got a 26 for Judkins. And, that makes sense, though, because he's much more of a floor play. I had him in my hot takes as a top 8 running back, and that was just strictly volume dependent, and that's a bet on this defense being above average. But this makes sense. I feel like his range of outcomes, he's going running back 23. Like, if he stays healthy, he's not finishing below this. I just can't see that happening.
Doesn't he remind you of like a peak Nick Chubb, but on a worse offense?
Yeah, not quite the player Nick Chubb is either, but yeah, just that type of player. Nick Chubb was always underrated as a pass catcher as well. But okay, 26 for Judkins. I don't like that number. I don't like seeing that number because I take him a lot in best ball, but it's half PPR. And half PPR, I like him a lot more, obviously, than full PPR. Storey doesn't care. Baysell Tootin next. Baysell Tootin. Now, this is an interesting one. Elite pass catching. So, you have a faction of people that think Baysell Tootin's fucking the next coming of Alvin Kamara, which is bullshit. But then you have people like you who I think that he's terrible, and it's probably somewhere in the middle.
It probably is somewhere in the middle. A lot of his. So it's tough for me to say because burst score, speed score. He's super strong. Like he's 82nd percentile on the bench, but he's got like no agility whatsoever, and you really need that to be an elite pass catcher. So it's tough for me to say, although he's got the frame for it, 5'9", 2. I'd love to see him another inch or two taller, but 206 pounds. He from a pass catching perspective, let's see what he did per game last year.
He had 10 receptions last year. He had 10.
79 receiving yards, and this is probably like a 4.
I was going to say 5 because of the role, and we know Chris Rodriguez is not taking it, right? And they view LaQuinn Allen as a strict third down back in terms of this pass pro. So is 5 fair to go with just based on that Liam Cohen, right? Makes it up from a 4 to a 5?
Sure.
This is why we couldn't do 5 through 1 because we would have to
you're right.
be able to settle. I usually am Storey. We have goal line dominance. Now, this one is interesting. He scored a lot of touchdowns last year, but it wasn't really from the goal line. It was because he's explosive, and that's not this category. Goal line dominance, I'm thinking 3, dude. 4.
I don't know because he had 27 red zone touches and 4 goal line touches last year in a season where ETN was dominating the work down in the red zone. So I think, he's got kind of a bowling ball frame a little bit, like a CJ Spiller type. I would probably go and he's also super strong. Like I mentioned, 24 reps on the bench. Yeah. So I probably I think probably he wasn't super efficient though. So I was going to say 6, but 5. So split the difference.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the weird thing is that you mentioned ETN. ETN's also dog shit on the goal line. So Chris Rodriguez, if there is a strength of Rodriguez's game, it's short yardage.
Yeah. And the
hard
reports are out of camp that those guys are splitting basically down the middle first team work. I think that should worry anybody who's targeting Tootin.
Fuck, I want to go 4 now because Trevor Lawrence is also going to take some of those carries, dude. 9 rushing touchdowns. Let's go 4. Is that fair?
I think it's fair,
it's uncertain. It's uncertain. We're going to go 4 for the goal line thing. Explosive runs and talent. This has to be pretty high because the dude's scoring touchdowns. The talent, again, his vision is similar to Hendy. It's worse than Hendy's. His vision is he's fucking blind. He's essentially Anthony Richardson or Najee Harris with one eye, fucking pirate. But is this a 7? Because he is explosive, and this is the category, right? It's not necessarily we're not talking about his intangibles here. We're talking about the explosive runs and talent.
Yeah, I mean, he's below average in both rushing explosive play rate and receiving explosive play rate. He only had 5 explosive plays last year across both formats, rushing and receiving. I don't think it's a 7. I think he's below average. I would put him at a 4 for explosive runs.
I guess we'll go 5 then. I'm not gonna take the. We'll go 5. We'll go 5.
Oh, I mean, he's a workout. He's a if the shorts are on right, 100th percentile, 40-yard dash. His speed score is out of control. Burst score is out of control, but it did not translate on the NFL field last year.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he was a rookie. Let's go 6. I think I said 7.
Fine.
6 is fair, just based on Liam Cohen. Also, again, they get the most out of the talents, and as long as the vision is a little better. Elite offense. This was interesting. We had a 6, for instance, for the Bucs. Is this a 7 with the Jaguars? With that defense being worse?
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence, assuming he will regress in the touchdown column, but assuming he maintains that level of play from last year, the second half of last year, Liam Cohen has made a difference everywhere that he's been over the last 5 years. I think you can realistically say this is, what do we say, a 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this one is not going to be a 7. Elite snap.
There's still a chance that Trevor Lawrence turns back into a pumpkin. I'm not signing his jacket for the Hall of Fame just yet.
Right, and it wouldn't affect Lawrence's if he was a pumpkin. He gets to be fine in fantasy because of the rushing stuff, but that would affect the rest of the team. Snap share will not be a 7 because not only is Chris Rodriguez going to be the short yardage guy, maybe not all the time on the goal line, but definitely on 3rd and 1s in the middle of the field. And LaQuinn Allen is an elite as a 21-year-old rookie, elite in every metric, and also the coaches praise him so much as a pass protector. Is this like a 4 for Tootin?
Snap share, 24% last year. Opportunity share, 24%. Weighted opportunities, number 59 in the league last year. The thing is, if he gets a decent snap share, like there's opportunity to be had because they ran 29 run plays per game last year, which was number 6 in the league. So if he can get that snap share, he's there. So that alone, I would say, bumps it up to a 5.
Okay, I'm fair with that because the offense he plays in. So we'll go 5. Pretty balanced here for Tootin, which is kind of weird. So he had 5, 4, 6, 7, 5. That's 27 for Tootin. A little bit above Judkins, which would lead me to believe I want to draft Judkins over Tootin, even though I don't operate quite like that. I have him right back to back in the ranks. But we know Judkins' floor is going to be really high just based on the volume. Like there is a lot of questions with Tootin. I thought he would be higher, but I mean, I will agree. I think Tootin should be higher in terms of league winning potential, based on the fact he's on the Jags and the big play stuff. But the numbers speak for themselves. We have 27. You pretty cool with that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I understand why he's appealing, but for me, I've seen this profile before and I've seen it not work out, especially when another guy. We'd love to say that Bashal Tootin will earn a role, but if Chris Rodriguez is the guy that Liam Cohen wants to play, then Chris Rodriguez is going to get the rock. It's not like pass catchers where targets are earned. This is a role.
All right, DeAndre Swift. This one should be very interesting. Elite pass catching. This is going to be pretty high, man. Swift has always been a consistent 40 to 60 reception player. He has a year, I think, with 70 receptions, 68 receptions, something like that, way back early in his career with the Lions, which was Ben Johnson. Last year, he only had like 40 receptions last year, which is weird, but it felt better than that.
214 receiving yards last year.
But Caleb Wright is not a checked out. He's much more Josh Allen than he is Jared Goff. But they're trying to get Caleb to settle down a little bit. That should help Swift. The ability's there. The role isn't ideal on this offense. Is this a 6 for you, roughly in that range? 7?
6
should be high.
Seems all right. He used to be like when he was in Detroit, man. He was a 350 to 450 yard receiver every year, and then he had that 1 year where he dipped to 200 yards, and then it bounced back up in 24, and then last year 200. I was wrong. It was 299 last year, but he had some receiving touchdowns as well. So I think a 6 seems reasonable.
Cool with that. Goal line dominance. So this is essentially a 50-50 split with him and Monangai in the goal line. Also could be in general. It's a good offense. It's a good ecosystem. 4 to 5 is kind of where I'm thinking right now.
It's a good offense, though. 9 goal line touches, 41 red zone touches last year. Number 16 in red zone touches. I think this is probably closer to goal line dominance. I mean, they do want to run the ball there. Like they want to run. Ben Johnson wants to run the ball, and this Luka Burton thing makes me think that they're probably going to be a little more conservative. So, what did you say? 6? I think 6 is reasonable.
4 or 5. I said 4. We'll go 5. I was going to say 4 or 5. So 5. We would go 5.5 if we could, but we can't. Explosive run / talent. I've always loved Swift. The explosive stuff I feel like is a little bit behind him in terms of taking one to the house, but definitely in terms of the receiving game, he can do that. Talent solid. What are you leaning towards here?
I think like you mentioned it, when those explosive plays come, I think that he's one of the best in the league, right? Like his rushing EPX, receiving EPX, explosive play rate, they're all above average. He's one of the top 10 in terms of explosive runs and explosive receiving plays. So I'd put him at a 7 because I agree that some of that explosiveness is probably behind him, right? That 4.48 40-yard dash that he ran 7 years ago, probably not a 4.48 anymore.
We will go 7. Elite offense. I know you're a little lower on the Bears than most, and we're both Chicago fans. We had 7 for the Jags. We had 6 for the Tampa Bay Bucks, and 7 for we had 8 for the Patriots. So is this a 7?
7.
8?
I think it's a 7.
7.
Yeah, the Luther Burden
is pretty high in a lot of these.
Yeah, but you have to consider the narrow target tree, the Luther Burden injury. If Caleb doesn't take a step forward, we're also going to be sitting here saying, where's the yards? Where's everything going to go? Like, how many touchdowns can they realistically score if Caleb Williams just maintains and doesn't progress? Because he didn't throw for 4,000 yards last year across 17 games. The Bears still don't have a 4,000-yard passer in their entire franchise.
No shit. If Shedeur Sanders does it before the Bears, I retire from being a Bears fan. Especially if he does in the Browns, which wouldn't happen, but he could be doing it throwing to Judkins all the time. Elite snap share. This is 5 is average. They're going to run quite a bit of plays. This is a good offense, but Monangai he's not going away. They like Monangai. I'm leaning 5 on this.
I'm leaning 6. Average. His opportunity share was 61% last year, which was more than I would have thought. We thought that, I think we're misremembering how much that Monangai actually kind of dug into Swift's workload. When Swift was there and he was healthy, especially towards the end of the year, he was getting quite a bit. So I would go with a 6.
All right, that's fair. So we have 25. We have 31 for Swift. So this is the 5th round running backs. We just finished up the 5th round running backs. I'm going to read you the totals right now. We have Hendy, who actually goes latest of all these guys, but he's the guy that's going to go all over the board because some people like Jay and a lot of other people love Hendy. Some people like me hate Hendy. 32 for Hendy, 30 for Bucky, 26 for Judkins, 27 for Tootin, and 31 for Swift. So Judkins was the lowest, and that makes sense because he's on the Browns, but they're all pretty close. Not ringing endorsements, but one of these guys could be league winners. Guys like Swift and Tootin and Bucky were a lot more consistent. Hendy and Judkins had a lot more variance. They had some really great traits that these other guys don't have. But in terms of being consistent around like all through the board is an issue. But we're kind of looking for some spike categories, right? And if for some reason the Browns aren't the worst offense in the world, maybe Judkins has a better chance. But pretty fair there. You like those numbers?
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. It's in line with what I would have thought at this point.
Yeah, I pat myself on the back. Pretty good segment I came up with. Jonathan, think we just think of Kyle Monangai when Swift was out. And I think you mentioned it, Storey. Like, I feel like Monangai was getting more of an opportunity share than he was snap share, right? Like when he was in the game, they were kind of giving the ball to Monangai a decent amount. Swift had more snaps where he didn't get the ball, which you could say is an issue, but that could just be the way the plays were drawn up. It's a small sample size. So I'm not too worried. I think you hit the nail on the head there with the snap share. I would have said more 5, but
Monangai snap share last year, 41.3%. His opportunity share was right in line there, 41.5%. We remember big games from Monangai because it's exciting when a rookie, especially a 7th-round rookie, comes on and takes meaningful work from that. But, especially in terms of the pass catching, Monangai was not a 0, but it was Swift's job to lose from a pass catching perspective.
All right, we're moving on to the 4th-round running backs here. And just so you know, for total points, we're just going to talk about each, the total points. We're going to talk about each round after each round. And then I'm going to throw a bonus on the 5th round guys as +5, the 4th round guys +4 to get the total numbers, because a 5th round pick can be a league winner by being 2nd round value or 3rd round value, where we get a 3rd round player. They almost have to be a 1st round player to really be a league winner, if that makes sense. David Montgomery, our boy, David Montgomery. This could be similar to Judkins, but better offense. So elite pass catching for David Montgomery. What do you have for this one?
Man, David Montgomery is kind of all over the place in terms of you go back year to year. I would say from a pass catching perspective, he was a good pass catcher early in his career. They just kind of phased him out of it. 5% target share last year. I don't know, 3 maybe.
I was going to say 5 just because I feel like Stroud is going to be more conservative this year, and he is a good pass catcher. It's just what is the role? So is 4 cool with you?
Yeah, I do. I think that's right. I do worry that Woody Marks is going to take a lot more pass catching than people think. I mean, David Montgomery's route participation was only like 25% last year.
Now we're getting nitty gritty though, because for this situation, goal line dominance, and we saw him steal a lot of goal line carries from Gibbs, and that's just kind of the way Ben Johnson and Campbell wanted to operate. But he's a good goal line back, a very good goal line back. Yeah. I am thinking like 8 for this dude because maybe less opportunities, but the defense is so good. They're going to be pounding the rock, and they're not giving it to Woody Marks, brother. And CJ Stroud's also not taking anything around the goal line. So I think 8 might even be low, but I don't want to go like up to 9 or 10.
13 goal line carries last year, even with Gibbs there, who's a great goal line back in his own right. 35 red zone touches. I think 8 seems reasonable. It's going to be a good offense. There's going to be tons of opportunities. You mentioned it. Not only are they probably not going to, from an injury perspective, want to put Woody Marks in that position. He was terrible on the goal line last year. Remember the plays where it's like second and goal from the 2, and Woody Marks just like bounces off of his own line. So I think 8 is probably conservative, but let's go with 8.
Well, you mix the fact that Woody Marks was terrible on the goal line, but also this offensive line has given no push. So it didn't really matter. Woody Marks just like made it even more dire, like watching that go down. And then it ended up being 3 fades to Nico Collins, 3 incomplete passes, and a turnover on downs. But I think they're going to try to establish this to take some pressure off CJ Stroud. We had 8 for Judkins, and this is, I know Judkins getting every goal line carry, where I think Mountain Dew is going to get 90% of them, but they're going to have more goal line carries. So 8 seems fair. Next category, explosive run / talents. Now, David Montgomery 3 years ago is not the player he is now. No. Or the player now is not the player he was 3 years ago. Is this a 5? Because he is still a good player, or is it lower than 5? I was going to say average. I think he's an average player. He's still got some tread in those tires. He's been kind of in the garage for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty average guy in terms of explosive play rates, both rushing and receiving. I mean, like almost dead even, or right down the middle. The problem is he came in the league in what, 2019, somewhere around there, I think. So this will be year 8 for him. You got to figure his best days are behind him. Pretty good athleticism score, but a lot of metrics are right down the middle. I think probably a 4. What did you say?
I said 5.
Okay, call 5. I think 5's fair. There's going, the other problem is that offensive line is still pretty mediocre. I wonder how many opportunities they're going to create for explosive runs. Because I
feel like, what this is like? When a pitcher in baseball is a little over the hill, what they lose on their fastball, they gain in knowledge. And it's a weird comparison, but David Montgomery is a pro. Like, you don't have to worry about him missing assignments. You don't have to worry about him missing a hole. So like that, it was probably a 4, but this is not a young player anymore. So I'm going to give him a boost of 5 just based on him being a fucking good player. And a very smart, savvy player. Elite offense story. This is a weird one because on one end, the offense is not elite at all, but the defense actually helps the situation. We're talking about a running back, right? Like they're going to have so many opportunities to run the ball out, to run the clock out, which almost helps. I know it's not really in the spirit of what we're doing, but I might want to boost it up 1 just based on the fact that CJ Stroud was elite early in his career. Former number 2 overall pick, should have been number 1. I guess maybe not. Bryce, that argument's actually valid right now. Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud. They got a lot of weapons though, right? With Noel, and then now you have Tank Dell back, which should help this offense out. What are you leaning towards for this one?
Man, I would love to say that the offensive line has been improved and they got a good group of pass catchers there. CJ Stroud still hasn't taken a step forward after a brilliant rookie season. I mean, he's probably realistically, you could say he's regressed, but he's still young. That offense is very young all around. Trading for David Montgomery is an upgrade. So I would put it at a 6. They really put a huge emphasis on the offensive line.
I can't go 6. We had 6 for the Bucks, man. Like, no way. 5 is fair. 5 is fair. I could make an argument for 4, but I want to kind of get the defense is going to help the offense, right? They're going to have a lot of 3 and outs forced. I think 5 is fair. We're not going to say the same as the Bucks. There's no fucking way we're going that far.
That's fair. I think we're low on the
checking you. Elite snap share. This one is also very intriguing because in theory, he's going to have a lot of the high value stuff, right? He's going to be catching passes on early downs, not a lot of third down stuff, but should be all the goal line stuff. Woody Marks, they can't overuse him. He's going to get hurt. So elite snap share, it's not elite. Is it a 5? 6?
Yeah.
They should use him. They traded for him.
I mean, yeah, they traded for him. The contract's pretty aggressive. The problem is we're speculating. We went off of last year. That's the different team, right? 37% snap share, 35% opportunity share. Number 33 in the league in weighted opportunities. Not ideal, but they made an emphasis on improving the offensive line and the run game. I think a 6 seems reasonable. I agree. I do think that Woody Marks is going to be a thorn in the side of managers this year, but it should be at least a 1A situation.
All right, we have 4, 8, 5, 5, 6 for Montgomery. That is a 28. He actually goes. He doesn't go like way higher than Swift, Tootin, and Judkins, but he goes a couple picks higher. He's at the end of the 4th round, so I almost lump him in the 5th round guys. But he is still lower than all of them, but Judkins, which makes sense. Judkins and Monty are both more so floor plays based on them being bangers and their offense is not being elite. Cam Scatabo. This one is super interesting. Real quick before I get to Mr. Cam Scatabo. Cyrus, I know Cyrus has a lot of questions. Again, we're going to try to finish this segment, and we'll try to get to some questions after this. If you need something answered, we will give you the attention. Just drop a $2 super, or $5 if you want to be nice. $50, fuck, do it. Hell yeah. But if you want this show going on 24/7, hop in the community, get in the Discord, join the Patreon to get in the Discord. We're offering 50% off, guys, for your first month. It's $5 to get in there. This costs you $2.50. So, Cyrus, if you're interested, some of you other guys, do it now. Promo code, use the code PRO, and it's going to cost you $2.50 for your first month. If you don't like it, you just want to use it up like a dirty whore, and then just get out, And I don't want you to do that, but I think you will stay because it is a great place with a lot of good people. The link is in the description for the Patreon. Use the code PRO. I want to shout out to all my boys in here. Appreciate you. Thank you. Any questions you have about it, ask the chat. They're pretty much all in there, so they will help you out. Let's get to the rest of the segment here. We have Cam Scatabo. This one's very interesting, like I said. Elite pass catching. This has got to be pretty fucking high, right?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, so we'll get to it, but his receiving explosive play rate was way lower than I would have thought. But in terms of like garnering targets, he only had 24 receptions last year, but he didn't play a major role until later in the season. Then he got hurt in October. So I think that was definitely going to tick up. 207 receiving yards across, how many games?
8 games.
8 games, yeah. Not ideal. So I would say, we're probably feeling it was better than it actually was. So I'm going to go with a 6.
I was going to say 7. I'm pretty comfortable with 6, mostly because, I think what he does with the ball in his hands after the catch is a little worse than his reliability, right? And he's going to catch the ball. He's going to be targeted. 6 seems super fair for his pass catching. Goal line dominance. Now, we maybe have to take this down 1 just based on Jackson Dart taking so many carries in there, but maybe they kind of scale that back a little bit. But this should be pretty high. I mean, Cam Scatabo is a fucking mauler down there, and that's probably one of his strengths. That and pass catching. This is what we want for an archetype of a running back.
Yeah, I mean, especially 8. If you look at his athleticism, it's not through the moon, but like his burst score is 89th percentile. So he got 7 goal line carries in 8 games last year. That was 38 in the league. I think he's got nowhere to go but up, assuming they use him down there. You've mentioned he's a bit of a mauler. So yeah, I would go with an 8 for goal line.
We had 8 for Monty and 8 for Judkins. That seems pretty fair. 8's pretty good. And then we have explosive runs / talent. The explosive runs are not there at all. That guy's got the hardest poop ever. He has his fiber. But the talent level's pretty good. The archetype of player is pretty good. But he's more of a tryhard, right? Like, I think he's good. He's a 4th round talent. Should have been a 3rd round talent. I'm leaning like 5 here. We had 5 for Montgomery. Should we give him a 6 because he's a young player?
I think so. His metrics, again, they're not, especially the advanced stuff, isn't ideal. His rushing EPX was number 36 in the league last year. I mentioned it earlier. His receiving EPX is basically non-existent. So but he has the ability to grow into that role. And we saw him start to get more work as well. They were going to utilize him. We would have seen those numbers tick up if he had played a full season. I fully expect that. So I think a 6 is reasonable.
I like that. Good start for the Scat Man. Elite offense. Now, this is not a good start because Matt Nagy, Greg Roman, Harbaugh, dinosaurs, neighbors, question marks. Jackson Dart not looking good in camp, being a second-year. There's a lot of question marks here. We had a 2 for Judkins. We had a 5 for Monty for the Texans. This is probably a 3 or a 4.
It's a 2. I really think it's a 2.
Oh, same as the Browns, huh? Can we get him 3?
All right, I'll give you 3. But realistically, like, there's question marks around whether or not Jackson Dart is a great passer, a good passer. There's question marks about him taking the next step. Cam Scannable should return to full health, but there's some lingering questions there. There's lingering questions about Malik Neighbors. There's a reason that they signed like 4 or 5 dusty wide receivers there. You got a terrible offensive coordinator. You've got a terrible head coach. I don't know, man. Like, who's your number 2 there? Juju Smith-Schuster, right? Darnell Mooney.
It might as well be. It's Beckham. It's fucking Slayton. It's a cast of terrible.
I'll give you 3, but it's not a good environment.
Mouth of the $5 holler. Give me 1 minute. I'll answer your question or get to your comment, Mouth. $25 BBM we got to go over. Excited about that. So we have 3 for elite offense. That's what you said, right? 3? Sorry, I was a little distracted. Okay. Elite snap share. Now, it was really good last year, but Tyrone Tracy is not a bum, right? And he's going to factor in. I have a number in my head. What is your number?
I don't know, man. Like, the tale of 2 halves of 2 Cam Scannable's halves, right? So he had 2 carries, 11 carries, 10 carries. Okay. Then he jumps up to 25 carries in week 4. 15, 19, 16, and he had only 3 carries in that Philly game, although one of them was a touchdown. So I would like to think that that this offense would feature him more, but does featuring is it an old school mentality for Harbaugh? Like, we're going to give Singletary his carries because he's going to be our grinder and so on and so forth. I don't know if Singletary's going to be involved, but I think Tracy's going to be a bit involved. Long way to say, I think it's a 6. For his snap share.
That's fair.
I mean,
I was going to say 7. I think 7, dude. They love him on the field. Now, how many games does he play? Availability, we don't have a category for that. I think we go 7 because when they have him in the game, they're going to fucking use him, dude. They love him.
Also
Jack Start loves him.
Well, it's tough for us to say because the Giants ran the ball. Yeah, Harbaugh.
And Harbaugh. Like, Harbaugh kept Derrick Henry off the field. So I guess 6 is fine.
6 is fine. Yeah, his opportunity share was 59% last year. I think we're going to see that tick up. But, we just talked about opportunity share for David Montgomery. He was a hell of a player, and his was at 49%.
We got a 6.8636 for Scatterbo. That's 29. That's a little ahead of Monty, which makes sense. It's below Swift. I feel like he should be higher than Swift, though.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Man, that offense is doing that offense.
Right.
A lot his goal line dominance and his pass catching is doing a lot of heavy lifting here.
Yeah, that's fair. And we have Miles said I sent a $25 Best Ball Mania, which shows how insane running back values have gotten. See, guys, if you want a draft or instant answer, send one of these. Shout out to Mouth. Real quick, before I even get to Mouth's team, I do want to get you guys, a lot of you guys do know this, check out Downtown Sports. The links in the description for the Spotify. They're on YouTube, though. Just search Downtown Sports. Guys, Iron Eagle coming on the program September 1st. Get in our community. Get in the Discord. Ask a question, and we're going to give one winner the best question that we like. We want to ask Iron Eagle, and we'll give you a shout-out on a show. Also, go over there and check out the show. Give him a sub. Give him a follow. Only 2 shows a week. Definitely worth a listen. And let's get back to the comment here. Here's the team. Best Ball Mania. This is, you know what? Go ballsy or go home. Best Ball Mania. Daniel Jones and Shedeur Sanders at quarterback. This is super risky, but in this tournament, you got to kind of go weird with it. The advancement rates are so hard. JT, Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams, ETN, and Rashad White. I think I would have just ended at ETN, but super strong running back room. Christian Watson, Josh Downs, Golden, Jacoby Myers, Flournoy, Tesla, Judy, Tank Dell, Keenan Allen. I like the Keenan Allen shot in Best Ball Mania right now because if he signs, this tournament goes the whole length from May to fucking opening day, essentially people drafting. Good value there if he signs. Tyler Warren and Sam Laporta. And you're also predicting he signs with the Colts, which seems like the spot, the place to be, just like our Discord and our community. Tyler Warren and Sam Laporta. So you are Downs, Keenan Allen, Warren, and Taylor with Daniel. This is a bet on the Colts. This might be a little bit heavy with the stacking. Maybe it's in your best interest if he goes to the Ravens at this point. But like the wide receiver room, love the running back room. Warren and Laporta, super nice there at tight end. It's about quarterback. You need Shedeur to start most games to make this team advance, because if it's just Daniel Jones and we don't see what we saw last year from Daniel Jones, this could be an issue. But I endorse a team for Best Ball Mania. If this was a puppy or like a $3 type tournament with like easier advancement rates, I would hate this team. But you're going for the moon here, and good chance this team misses the playoffs. But if it sneaks in, it's a very unique team that could definitely advance a couple rounds, and that's what we're looking for. What do you think about Shedeur, though? The reports are they might drop him or something, release him or trade him?
They're not dropping him. I did read that Dylan Gabriel was mixing in, though. So we had previously written him off. But I think Watson is solidifying his role as the starting quarterback. But they're not tied to him. 4 bad games, and they could easily move on from him. So I would be concerned about drafting any of those guys in best ball. I understand that there might be value, but realistically, like, they could bounce back and forth. We've seen coaches do this before where it's like 2 games, 1 game, 1 game, 1 game, 2 games. Like, I don't know that I would want that headache.
Yeah, looking at it, man, Rashad White should have been a quarterback. If you just take Rashad White as your quarterback 1, and then you go Jones and Sanders, like, you have Taylor, Henry, Kyron, and ETN. I understand Taylor and Henry have the same bye, but like, realistically, how does Rashad White meet your lineup? If Rashad White's hitting your lineup, your team is not going to be good. Because you have JT, Henry, Kyron, and ETN. You only start 3 of them. Like, so I would have made this a 4 running back team and taken a 114. You could get like Matt Stafford, or you can get, you have Watson and Golden. I'm guessing what happened is that someone took Jordan Love. If you have Jordan Love, Daniel Jones, and Shedeur Sanders with the double stack with the Packers, now this team's in business because you're betting on your running back staying healthy. All in all, though, I think this team it's probably not making the playoffs with the quarterback room unless Shedeur starts majority of the season, like 14 games, and is actually decent. But if it makes it in, if you squeak in, dude, this means that the Colts offense is rolling and Shedeur is actually a relevant fantasy quarterback, then it is very unique. And there's not a lot of teams like this. I can promise you, Daniel Jones and Shedeur Sanders.
Well, if you want a differentiating team, that's certainly one.
That's what you got to do in Best Ball Mania. Jonathan says John Harbaugh would keep Henry off the field, though. Right. That's why we kind of put it down to 6. I don't know. I feel like you're right, but maybe Harbaugh learned his lesson. Who knows? You hate Harbaugh, though.
Dude, Harbaugh's an idiot. I swear he had a lobotomy 2 years ago. I don't know what happened to that guy, but last year was the absolute worst. I want to kick that guy square in the pills. What a moron. And the fact that the Baltimore media let him get away with saying, like, well, it's because it was his drive, or when we're talking about Keaton Mitchell and what's the other guys? Rasheen Ali. Like, come on, dude. Who do you think you pull? I think he wanted to get fired. He's a moron.
Yeah, he wanted to go to New York. All right, we got to move out of Travis Etienne.
New York Giants. The New
Travis
York
Etienne. We have elite pass catching. Etienne's a good pass catcher, man. What do you have for this out of 10?
I mean, elite Etienne is a darn good pass catcher. We saw it last year. Not a very efficient pass catcher, but he certainly gets the carries. I would probably put him at a 7. I think that in terms of like his opportunity share for receiving, his receptions per game, per opportunity, yards per route run was lower than I would have expected. Actually, probably lower than Cam Scadable's last year. Like, I think it was 1.2 versus Cam Scadable's 1.6. So that's a big difference there. So that alone is going to drop it down. Maybe 6, I'd say.
I was going to say 6, mostly because Kamara's there, right? Kamara, if it wasn't for Kamara signing, we'd go 7. Let's go 6 for ETN pass catching. We had 6 for Scadabo. That seems pretty fair. He does more with the ball in his hands. He can catch wheel routes where Scadabo can too. They don't use them like that. 6 is fair. Goal line dominance. So again, this is almost a plus with Kamara being there. We're not worried about him. Taysom Hill's out of town now. So is this also a 6? Because he's bad. He's bad. It's not goal line efficiency. This is goal line dominance. And this team's going to be in the red zone a decent amount. They're going to run a lot of plays. Their defense is still bad. There'll be some shootouts.
I mean, what does this say about Bashal Tuden when he's bad? He's bad on the goal line, objectively bad. But they still gave him 62 red zone touches and 7 goal line touches, which is number 5 in the league last year. What does that say about Bashal Tuden? I know as a rookie, I get that, but Liam Cohen doesn't seem to be an old school guy. Anyway, back to ETN. From a goal line perspective, who else is taking touches there, though? Like, in terms of dominance, I feel strongly that he's going to be their goal line back. I don't think they're going to give Kamara. Kamara used to be an amazing goal line running back, and now I think he's pretty washed. Love the guy, but yeah, I would put this probably at the offense still has some question marks, so I'd say probably a 7.
We had 5 for Swift, but that's because Monunga is there. I think 7's fair, man. 7 is fair.
Because again,
so far?
Who's taking goal line touches there?
Kendre Miller and Devin Neal, but those guys, Kendre Miller's never healthy, and Devin Neal is also hurt again.
Right.
So
and then Audric Esime is probably getting cut. Like,
there you go. Okay, explosive run / talent. I've never been a big ETN guy. I was coming into college with the Trevor Lawrence stuff in college, right? It was awesome at Clemson. Never really lived up to it, but relatively dynamic. He's not washed. He got the bag of money, but I would put him closer to a 5 than I would a 7. So it's either 5 or 6 for me.
Yeah, his agility score is lower than I would have liked, but all the other metrics are certainly, 80th percentile. I guess the burst score is 62nd percentile. Still, he's above average in explosive play rate and explosive plays. Number 11 last year in receiving explosive plays. So I think he's still an explosive player. I think realistically, you can give him a 7.
I think we gotta go 6, dude. We have a 6 for Bucky. We have a 6 for Toot, and we have a 7 for Swift. I think we were probably a little high on Swift's talent.
Yeah,
there,
probably a little high on Swift.
This is why we're doing this exercise, guys. We're talking this shit out. Let's go 6.
Okay.
I'm also changing Swift to a 6 and making him a 30. I'm making him for sure.
I think that's reasonable.
There we go. Okay. Moving on to elite offense. We have, the plays per game is going to be awesome. Kellen Moore, drafting Tyson. There's a lot of nice things to be on board with in the Saints. I think we're both a little lower on the Saints than the Saints bros that are just saying this is a top 10 offense guaranteed. I'm still not 100% in on Tyler Shuck. I do like Tyler Shuck. I liked him more than you coming out of college, but kind of cool a little bit from everyone just calling him like a franchise quarterback. Like, let's chill on that a little bit. And everyone wants to just say Stroud sucks, but yet Shuck's a god. I mean, we saw Stroud do it for an entire rookie year and had way better pedigree. And I'm pretty sure Stroud's still younger than Shuck. So what do we have for elite offense here, man? What are you thinking?
I mean, I'm not ready to anoint the Saints the crown jewel of the NFC South just yet. Bear in mind, I know they ended the year on a 4-game winning streak, but they were 18 points a game last year. That was bottom 10, right? They're probably going to be a middle-of-the-road offense, maybe in that 18 to 17, 18. I mean, if Shuck doesn't take a step forward, you got more tape on the guy. I'm worried that this offense is going to underperform. He's going to underperform in year 2. I really it's still the Saints. It's still the NFC South. I think it's a 4.
I'm going to go. I think 5 is fair. We had 6 for Bucks. We had 7 for Jags, 7 for Bears, 5 for Texans. I feel like they're as good as the Texans offense, right? I'll tell you, here's my concern. So I think their yardage, and this is also pretty much spelled out in terms of Tyler Shuck's props in Vegas. He's at like one of the highest yardage totals, but it's like 3,700 yards, which is higher than Lamar and a bunch of guys in terms of passing yards, but his touchdown number is like 16.5. So I think the Saints might be a team that moves the ball a lot and have a lot of plays and that, you're going to get a lot of yardage and receptions, but the touchdown numbers, and that's also apparent in the ETN 4.5 rushing touchdown number, which seems crazy low. So you said 4. I think 5 is fair. I think 5 is fair here.
Yeah.
I don't want to go below the Texans, bro. Like, the Texans don't also need to. I think this team's going to have to score points. Elite snap share. This one's interesting because of Kamara. And just for reference, we had 6 for Monty. We had 6 for Swift. Is this? I mean, I almost think it's better than Swift's snap share, but I don't want to go 7. So I think 6 sounds about right for ETN.
Yeah, last year he dominated snaps. I mean, dominated 65% snap share, 69% opportunity share. Again, we talk about it, like especially all these guys, they're all in some kind of committee. His weighted opportunity, though, he was number 10 in the league last year. They ran the ball a lot, assuming they run the ball a lot in New Orleans as well. What did you say, a 6? The problem is Kamara is a sticking point there. If Kamara wasn't there, I think we'd be a lot. I think we'd probably have ETN as an 8, right?
I like 6. Like Seinfeld. Yeah. I like 6. 6 is good. 6 is good. Here we have, so out of 10 total for each category for ETN. We have 6, 7, 6, 5, 6. Pretty balanced. That's 13, that's 20, that's 30. We have 30 for ETN, which is equal to Swift. I feel like ETN, we're just not in on this offense as much, I think was the biggest difference.
Yeah.
We have Big Ray, so 30 for ETN. We had 29 for Scatterbo, 28 for Montgomery, which is fair. These guys, I'm going in reverse order of ADP. So now this is actually making a little bit of sense. I think we're getting the groove of the segments a little bit. Big Ray, hello, boys. Please give me some 2 to 3, late 1 to 3 round running backs you like, as in late first through third, late 1 to 3 running backs you like. Oh, late round guys. And please give me some 2 to 3 running backs you like, late/handcuffs in the 6 through 9 rounds. So I'm pretty big on Tank Bigsby for sure. Like Tank Bigsby's my dude.
That early?
No, 6 through 9, I guess, would be the range of. I was talking about handcuffs because you mentioned handcuffs.
Yeah, I mean,
let me pull up Underdog here real quick.
I would start at like Jalen Warren.
Rico Dowdle for me is that guy. I think I'm taking Rico, especially in half PPR. I know you play half PPR in your home league, Ray. Rico over Warren for me in half PPR. Jonathan Brooks as a bench running back. I don't want him as a starter, obviously, but as a bench running back.
Has he?
Who do you have? You have some names?
Has he climbed above Chuba Hubbard yet?
Yep. Yes, he has.
Okay. I mean, I love Monungai in the, where would he be going? In the 90s, I would guess. Probably Monungai would be going there. Prior to today, I would have said J.K. Dobbins. I think you could probably keep him off your board for right now. I mean, if I'm wrong on Bucky Irving, then Kenny Gainwell's probably going to have a good season, and you can get him relatively cheap, probably around pick 100. You mentioned Rico Dowdle, right? I think Jalen Warren, though, I think I'd rather have Jalen Warren over Rico Dowdle. Jalen Warren's got an established role on that offense, and check down Charlie in Aaron Rodgers is going to utilize him quite a bit.
Jordan Mason's a guy I like in half PPR. We can mention RJ Harvey with the Dobbins injury for sure. Like, he was already going to have a role, and if Dobbins is already hurt. I'm a big Blake Corum guy in terms of as a bench running back and a guy that you could flex and have bye weeks, and you have the inherent upside of if something happens to Kyron, or if they kind of swap it and go to a full 50-50 in this offense. 50% of the Rams offense is almost like a 70% Quinshon Judkins snap share. You know what I mean? So like that's super nice. And then going down the board a little bit, Chris Rodriguez. We just chatted about Bashal Tutin. Chris Rodriguez, if you're in a deep league, like Rodriguez is a guy that you're fine if you kind of punt running back, and it's kind of like my league where there's 2 flexes and a PPR. You want to start 5 receivers if you can. Rodriguez is going to score a handful of touchdowns, and it's going to be kind of gross in PPR, but you're waiting until, pick 130. Like, he's a guy that in the proper matchup, if you can play matchups, a game they're favored by 7 or 8 points, like odds are Rodriguez is probably scoring a touchdown in that game when they put up 30 points. Like, it's not going to all go to Tutin, and he's going to be I think he's going to be more of the guy that's going to salt the game away. So Chris Rodriguez, I think that foot injury is behind him. And I know the Keaton Mitchell love, and I don't know if you saw the Hampton report today. I didn't want to talk about that because we're talking about Hampton coming up soon. This is not good. I've been saying this forever. Like, give me Saquon, give me Kenneth Walker over Hampton, and everyone's yelling at me. And Ray, you're a big Hampton guy. They just said they're going to run a committee, and I always knew it was going to be a committee. It's going to be a committee.
You talking about what Mike McDaniel said?
Yeah, there was 2 reports though, and I'm not overreacting to this because this is how I kind of thought it was the whole year. If anything, I'm probably going to be higher on Hampton now because people are going to drop him in the ranks. I'm not moving him. I have him ahead of A-Chain.
One blurb from Mike McDaniel at a presser is not going to move.
People get scared, bro. People get scared, man.
No, I don't know. Like, he said that stuff last year, and look what A-Chain did. So I'm not really worried about it.
All right. You heard it from Mike Storey's mouth. We got to move on to Josh Jacobs, and let's do this whole assumption that there is we're not talking about any suspension stuff. Yeah. Josh Jacobs, let's try to move this a little quicker. We still have a lot of names to get to. So I'm gonna go through mine, and then you can go through yours. So elite pass catching for Josh Jacobs. It's not elite, but he there's no one behind him. I'm gonna go 7 for Josh Jacobs, just based on the volume there. And then goal line dominance. This is an 8 for Josh Jacobs. We're gonna go 8. Explosive run / talent. Josh Jacobs. This is lower. I feel like the talent's fine, but it's not amazing anymore. I'm going to go 5. Josh Jacobs, 5 for that category. And then elite offense. I'm also going to go 5. I am pretty bullish in this offense, but 5 seems pretty fair. And then snap share should be a 7. I'm pretty high. Look at these numbers. I have 15, 25. 32 is my first inclination. I'm curious to see what Storey thinks about all these, but this is high for a guy that I think is more of a floor play. But again, Josh Jacobs should be higher than these other guys because Josh Jacobs is going in the middle of the third round. The other guys were, end of the third. Actually, no, Josh Jacobs is, early fourth, but still way higher than ETN and Scatabo and Monty. So he should have a higher score. I don't see him as a league-winning player. But again, guys scored 13 and 14 touchdowns respectively the last 2 years on the Packers. So this is super interesting, and I can't wait to hear what Storey says. I'm going to play a clip here real quick while Storey comes back and grab a drink. Give me 20 seconds. All right, power through this one. Power through this Jacobs one.
Okay. I gotta stop drinking so much tea at night.
You do.
All right, Josh Jacobs, pass catching. We've always seen him be a pass catcher in Green Bay. He did catch the ball a little bit in Oakland, was in Las Vegas at the time. He had 36 receptions last year. That was fine. I'd probably put him he's still pretty good with the ball in his hand. Like his receiving explosive play rate is one of the best in the league. So I'd probably put him at 8 for elite pass catching.
Okay.
Cool. What?
Okay. Just keep on going, then we'll compare our notes. I did mine.
Okay. Goal line dominance. I don't. As long as he's healthy, I don't think anybody else is taking goal line looks there. He had 15 goal line touches last year, 57 red zone looks. He's a 9 goal line dominance. And they don't run sneaks with Jordan Love. They don't run a lot of bubble screens that the Packers used to run anymore. Every once in a while, you'll see an inside slant or something like that. But realistically, when it gets down inside the 5, it's Josh Jacobs territory. So explosive runs and talent, like his explosive EPX is right in league average. But if you put all the explosive plays together, he's above average. I would say he's still starting to drag a little bit, and he doesn't really have long speed. He was like a 4.7 guy. So I would say he's probably a 6 on explosive runs in talent. Offense, I go back and forth on the Packers, man. I would love to see the Packers really take that step forward, just so we can kind of know what we have in Jordan Reed and Matthew Golden. Because Jordan Love will be remarkably inconsistent, where he'll put 2 amazing games together, and then he'll put a clunker in the So they're probably right in the middle of the pack. I would put them at a 5 or a 6. Let's go with 6. And then snap share, they've talked about getting Marshawn Lynch involved, but they also shipped off Elijah, what's his name, to Seattle.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank here. Sorry, I was thinking of something else.
Last year he had a 60% snap share. Okay, but opportunity share 71%, and weighted opportunities he was number 17 in the league. So I don't think there's any real challenge to his snap share. I would put it at an 8.
Jesus, you had 37 for Josh Jacobs. And you know what? He is going higher than these guys. I had 7, 8, 5, 5, 7. I had talent as a 5, bro. A little lower. I had 7 for pass catching just because of what he does in the ball in his hands. So I had 32. You had 37. Let's meet in the middle and call it 34. Is 34 fair?
34
seems like more of a floor play.
What'd you have for
the highest number? I had 7.
7? Okay.
Yeah, 8 for goal line. I was a little Marshawn. You said Marshawn Lynch, Marshawn Lloyd. Nice from Jonathan. We also couldn't remember the backup's running back name. That was not a good segment. You had a P. And all right, we had 34 though for Josh Jacobs, the highest number. Again, these numbers should be higher because these guys are going earlier, right? We're getting into the better realm of players here. Next one here, Javonte Williams. This should be interesting. So pass catching for Javonte Williams, it's not great. I think it's 5. I think it's 5 because he's going to be on the field a lot, and it's not elite, but I think so. Okay, we can go 4. Dude. Monty was a 4.
Dude, he's terrible.
No, he's not that bad. He was really good with the Broncos at pass catching. I'll say 4. I'm not going to go 3, dude. 3.
Dude. Okay, I'll give you the route participation. Fine, 45%. Target share 9%. Fine, but dude, yards per reception 3.9 last year. Yards per route run 0.48, last year.
Okay.
69%.
All right. You sold me. What is it? Is it 2?
It's
3? 3?
It's fine 3. It's a 3 because he still has like a 9-10% target share in his range of outcomes.
And Jaden Blue blows. So
yeah,
goal line dominance. Hey, this is a 10. Is this a 10 goal line dominance? Because Dak isn't running the ball anymore and they have a good offense. Like this has to be a 10. I feel like if there's ever a 10, this is it.
Yeah, 15 goal line touches. I don't feel comfortable with a 10 because they do like passing the ball in the red zone and even on the goal line. So I think a 9.
I'm writing 9. Explosive run / talent. This dude gets caught by linebackers. I make the joke about him last year. I was making so much money on Javonte, but watching it was rough. This is probably a 2 or a 3. Who's the lowest we have? We had a 4 for Tootin. Dude, if we had a 4 for Tootin, this has to be a 2, bro.
I think it's a 3. He had more explosive plays last year than you would have thought. Now, again, part of that is because of the sheer volume. But the fact of the matter is this offense generates the opportunity for explosive plays. And every once in a while, he does take advantage of it. So I would say it's a, throw some of the stuff out the book with him. But so I think a 3 is reasonable.
Bonesless, we got to finish this this segment, and then after this, I'm going to do a best ball draft. So I'll be answering all the questions if you want to stick around, or the chat can help you out with that one. That we're trying to figure. We still have a lot of names to get to. We're already hour 47 in. So we have a 3 for explosive runs, elite offense. This is probably an 8. I think it's an 8.
Yeah, I mean this is you can mark him in for a top 10 offense, assuming that Dak Prescott is healthy. Bringing George Pickens back on the franchise tag, obviously this core is very much in place. CeeDee Lamb dealt with that ankle sprain last year that I really think hindered his production. He should get back to form. I mean, you could make an argument that's a top 5 offense, but 8 is right there.
Snap share, I think, is an 8 as well, man. Like this guy, he's just all over the map with this stuff. But I think 8, like he was not coming off the field last year. And until I see some more strides from Jaden Blue and Malik Davis is literally just a guy. And they're not bringing anyone else in. They paid Javonte. It has to be an 8. If we're this high on Josh Jacobs, like Jacobs is more consistent. Javonte has similar type vibes. It's just he's not quite the player that Jacobs is.
252 carries last year, 51 targets. Those were numbers 10 and 11 in the league, respectively. 69% opportunity share, number 12 in the league in weighted opportunities. Yeah, it's an 8. Like there's not a challenge to his snap share on this roster as we speak.
All right, we have a 31 for Javonte, which is more of a floor play based on where he's going. He's going in the third, end of the third, early fourth, right at that 3-4 turn. Now we're on to the official. There's 3 running backs here in the next tier. The third round running backs starts drying up here after the giant second round running backs we're going to get to in a little bit. Kyren Williams. This one is interesting. Pass catching, I'm thinking of a 5 or a 6 because he's on the field a lot because his pass blocking. He does nothing with these receptions. So what do you think?
Yeah. I would love to say that he's a great pass catcher, but realistically, he's not. Yards per route run, 0.97, 7.8 yards per reception, 47% route participation, which is actually pretty good. But he ran 291 routes last year. That was number 10 at the position. So I think a 6 is reasonable.
Empty calories, though. Empty. They don't target him. I mean,
8.6% target share. Fine, 5. Go with 5.
5. Gotcha, bitch. Goal line dominance. This is interesting because he's going to have a good opportunity. They're going to be around there a lot. They're going to throw a lot to Devontae Adams and Blake Corum. If he starts to drive, they give him there. They rotate in the goal line. This should be higher than it is. I'm going to go 6 on this one. It should be a 5 because they're splitting, but it's because it's the Rams and this defense is better, especially now this year. I think a 6 is fair here.
I think you got to go 7 on this. He had 61 red zone touches, 13 goal line touches last year. Yeah, and he's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, he's got a nose for the end zone as well.
Dude, we had an 8 for Josh Jacobs. I had an 8 for Josh. You had a 9 for Josh Jacobs. Like, there's no way it's close to Josh Jacobs' fucking share. Get the hell out of here.
I said a 7.
Okay. All right. I'll give you 7. We'll give him the bump, the Rams bump here. Explosive run / talent. I like. He's a nice little player. This is for me a 5. I think he's an average player and
average
explosive.
Above average agility score, but that's realistically it for the rest of the athleticism metrics. He's probably like dead middle. What do you say at 5? I think 5.
5.
Yeah.
Okay, elite offense. Now this is probably a 9. If we had 8 for the Cowboys, I think this is a 9.
It's a 9, and the only reason it's not a 10 is because we do fully expect some regression in this offense. Like they cannot be as good as it, although they are still projected to be the highest point scoring team in the league this year.
Boneslo says he's better than average. I mean, he looks better than average when he's getting all those touches on a Sean McVay offense, but man, Kyron's also got a lot of wear on it. Maybe he was above average at his second year of his career. I'd love the tape then. The tape has fallen off for sure. And Blake Corum is a better runner, not a better pass blocker. You know, come on. Ray, I'll get to your super in just a second. Let's finish up Kyron Williams here. Elite snap share. Yeah, it's not elite. I mean, because it's 53%.
69.9% snap share last year, even with Blake Corum carving out a little role.
But the opportunity share was lower, though. The opportunity share was way lower.
65% opportunity share last year.
Right.
Number 11 in the league in weighted opportunities, and they're number 15 in the league in team runs per game. He was number 9 in the league in carries last year, number 12 in the league in targets. Like, you can't tell me that his snap share is not elite.
Look at the splits, though. The splits in the second half were much more drastic when Corum started getting involved. I'm going to go 6 on this one. You can't go 7.
I think
it's a fucking split.
No way, man. I'm an 8. I think he's an 8. I do not see, again, when Corum, who sucks in pass protection, when he gives up a block and he gets blown by and Stafford gets pancaked, I don't think you're going to see Blake Corum for the rest of the game.
He did suck in pass protection. I was bald. I said 6. You said 8. I'm going to go 7. We're going to go 7. That's fair. So we have 5, 7, 5, 9, 7 for Kyron. That is 16, 21, and 12. That is 33 above Javonte, below Josh Jacobs, though. That's pretty fair.
Just by 1, though.
And again, in terms of league winners, if he's this high, I mean, again, he's a third-round running back. But the inherent upside of something happens to Corum, this is a top 5 running back. I mean, we've seen it millions of times. I'm not opposed to drafting some Kyron this year. Big Ray, Rob / Storey, are you both happy that Roger Craig got in the Hall of Fame? I did not see that. And one of the original, kind of Marshall Faulk before Marshall Faulk, Roger Craig, like the West Coast running back that was catching passes way before his time in the 80s. This is awesome. And this team needed to be honored more because the Niners in the 80s were bonkers.
He played for what, like 7 or 8 years with the Niners, and then he bounced around to a couple of other teams. I think he played for the Vikings. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it was great to see him. He's from the Midwest. I know he's from Iowa. Like, he went to Nebraska for 4 years, but he's from Davenport, Iowa.
Whenever I think of Davenport, I think of that scene from Tommy Boy where he's like, "You need yourself to get a new map." Well, we're in the state of Illinois. Davenport's in Iowa, and get yourself a new map.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm super happy that Craig got into the Hall of Fame.
All right, next guy. This should be interesting. Breece Hall. Let's try to power through these. We still have like 7 names. We're almost on 2 hours.
Wow. Okay.
Breece Hall, elite pass catching, has to be very high. Yeah, he's a great pass catcher. He's led the league before in receptions for running back. So I'm thinking 7 here. Let's see. We had 7 for Hendy, 7 for Bucky. Is this an 8? Possibly 7 for Jacobs? Like, he's a really good pass catcher.
He is a really good pass catcher, and there should be more opportunity now. I'm going to try to speed this up, not get too in-depth with some of the stats anymore so we can get through these in a reasonable time. So I'm going to go 8 here. I think he is probably the best pass catcher that we've talked about so far.
All right, goal line dominance. Now, this is the opposite of the pass catching thing. This is probably a 3 because even when he is the only show in town, he's not effective at the goal line. They have Braylon Allen, who's now 250, guys. And Isaiah Davis might mix in. How many chances is he going to get in the goal line? I'm thinking 3 or 4, bro.
I don't know, man. They don't really like Braylon Allen. We would love for them to use Braylon Allen more. He's going to mix in. Isaiah Davis is going to be there too. I got to go 5. Realistically,
I'm going 4. Then I'm going to say 3. I'm going to go 4. We're going to meet in the middle.
Okay.
We're meeting in the middle. Explosive run / talents. It's been zapped since the ACL a little bit. He's a good player though. He's a versatile player, and I have a number in my head. What do you have?
Explosive player 8. I'm gonna go 7. I think he's still a pretty good talent.
I'll give you 7. I was gonna say 6, but I'm not gonna. You kind of moved the last one. So we'll go 7. Elite offense for the Jets. Mouth would say 8. I'm going to say, I think it's a, let's see. We had a 2. For Judkins, we had 2. We had 3 for the Giants. And the Jets are probably at that 3-2 number. They have a lot of talent. So we want to go 3 here for the fact their defense is still trash and new coordinator. Gino is better than fucking Fields. Like, it's 2 or 3.
I think there's a possibility that they might have a borderline competent offense this year. The fact that they added pieces in the draft, I think really, and Garrett Wilson's going to be a focal point. They signed Breece Hall. I think 3. It's
fair.
It's still. I mean, dude, what year is it? Geno Smith starting for the Jets again? Like,
you almost had a carve out a little niche down the road thing with that statement. So
and he has carved out a nice little slot niche for
We're
him.
right, spot on, better than we thought. Elite snap share. Interesting, because if they're going to work in 3 running backs, again, we can't go into the assumption of that. But the fact is, I said that they like Isaiah Davis. Braylon Allen is a different type of archetype running back than these other guys.
Yeah,
I'm going to say 5 or I think 6. Is 6 fair?
It's way more than that. Opportunity share 74% last year, and I know Braylon Allen got hurt, so you can't go off of that. If Braylon Allen hadn't got hurt, he had a 74% opportunity share, 65% snap share. I'd say an 8. I think this is a 7 though. Like,
I'll go 7. I'm fair with 7. Yeah. 14, 17, 21, 29 for Breece Hall. That's probably because of the offense. Again, we need a good offense to be an actual league winner. But again, Breece Hall in a half PPR, I'm definitely not fading, but I don't take him on underdog. Like, this is a PPR play. This is a guy that can have 60 receptions. That's going to make the difference. Next guy here, this would be interesting. Jeremiah Love. I'm ready to fight Storey on this one. Jeremiah Love, elite pass catching. We haven't seen it in the NFL. This is based on his prospect profile and what we think of the player. I have a number in my head. I think it's really fucking high. Really fucking high.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. I think it's an 8. I don't think it's a 10 by any stretch.
Yeah, 8. I was going to say 8.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to give a rookie equal with Breece Hall, but like he didn't even have a lot of opportunities in college. But you saw the combine workouts, running routes out there with receivers. Like, this dude is the real deal in terms of a pass catcher. 8's fair. Goal line dominance.
I mean, he had a 10.5% college or target share in his last year at Notre Dame. That's insane for a college player. They
just didn't throw the ball a lot. You know what I mean? So the volume wasn't there. But yeah, the metrics are on his side.
Yeah.
So goal line dominance, Algier, we saw him take. Algier's a damn good goal line running back, and Love is good in his own right. Again, in college, is this a 4?
What?
It should be higher. You think
it's
the
higher? Offense?
No, I'm just worried about Algier, man. He kept Bijan off the fucking field in the goal line. Like,
does
5?
have an Algier problem. I would probably say.
Were you going to say 6?
I was going to say 6. Yeah, just because go back and look at college. The college tape really speaks to. I mean, we're talking Notre Dame. We're not talking, Montana State.
Right.
Here.
I'm gonna go. You know what? Let's go 5, and then we might want to bump up another category later. We're like 5.5. Let's go 5.
If there was no Algier, what would you say? A 9?
Oh, if there was no Algier, I'd say 8.
Yeah.
So let's go 6. Let's go 6. Let's go with the 3rd overall pick and bank on the fact that LaFleur is not an idiot. Like you think his brother is. We have explosive run / talent, dude. This has to be
a 9.
Has to be a 9, bro. Yeah. Like this guy is a poor man's Gibbs, maybe even Gibbs. Who knows?
He didn't do all the drills, but we saw, he's got a 99th percentile 40-yard, a 98th percentile speed score. Like, we have to assume that they're coming. How could we not?
Now, all this, let's take with a grain of salt, because I do believe the early season stuff, like these numbers we're talking about, this is when he takes the role. Now, that could be week 1. This is all a smokescreen. I think week 5 is super fair. Worst case scenario, it's got to be week 7 where all this stuff is taking full effect. But we're going for what should happen and what's most likely to happen, and that's him being the lead back of this backfield. Elite offense. So I'm a little higher in the Cardinals than you are. I like the Cardinals offense more than the Jets offense. I'll say that. We gave them a 3. We gave the Giants a 3. What do you have here?
2?
Oh, worse, dude. What are you talking about?
I got
Their defense sucks. No way,
some
bro.
Credit for at least understanding that they're in a bad shape, but what's the ceiling with Jacoby Brissett? Realistically, he's 20-45 in his career as a starter, including 1-11 last year. I just cannot, in good conscience, put them ahead of the Jets. Not with everything the Jets did to.
You're going to put them with the Browns. You're going to put them with the Browns, a team we saw put up like pretty good numbers, definitely yardage numbers last year.
I would put them 2 spots above the Browns, probably.
Okay, so we'll go with a 3.
I would
say it should be a 5, but
dude, this is going to be one of the worst teams that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, because their defense is fucking horrid.
Yeah, and
this is an offense thing. Like, and he's a pass catcher. I'll give you 3, but that's bullshit. There you go. 3. Elite snap share. Snap share is not going to be great either. What do you have for? Fuck you in a 2. What do you have for 3? What do you for 3? What do you have for snap share, man?
This
is a tough one. This is
a really tough one.
It should be an 8. It should be an 8.
God, if we knew what his snap share was with any reasonable certainty, we would be knowing where exactly to draft him.
Is 5 fair? Average snap share?
I think 6. I think he's just too good of a talent to be kept off the field.
All right, we have 14, 23, 26, 32. 32 for Love. But again, Love goes middle of the 3rd round, and this is the highest guy we've had yet. So, and it's the uncertainty, and I would have had a little higher. I might have had a couple categories lower than you, but I would have had the offense at a 4 or 5, just based on sheer volume of plays.
No way that offense is a 4.
What do you mean? Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride, Jeremiah Love. It's a good offense. The offensive line's not great, so we didn't have that in there. So I guess 4. We'll go 4. But I'm going to go 3 for you, just for you, man.
I would have gone a 2.
Derrick Henry, elite pass catching. This is probably 1.
Yeah,
2?
man. God,
because he does take some receptions to the house, right? Like he can have a couple 60-yard touchdowns. So
he only ran 124 routes last year. He had a 5% target share. He's number 52 in the league in route participation. But his yards per route run, 1.2. What were we talking about with David Montgomery and DeAndre Swift? They're in that range as well. Swift might have been a little higher, but I think Swift was 1.6. Either way, I think it's a he's 71% catch rate. Oh man,
2?
Maybe they use him
2.
more. Yeah, 2.
Yeah,
okay.
well, we've been saying that for fucking years, bro. And you know what? Harbaugh's gone. We'll go to goal line dominance. That's a 10. The first 10 we've had. I'm not even gonna fucking ask you about that one. Explosive run / talents. This is probably a 9. It's still Derrick Henry. Do we go 8 just because he's older? Do we go 8?
Yeah, okay, fine. I'll give you 8, but he was number 3 coming in this year. He's number 3 in rushing explosive rate. And he's 32 now.
Elite offense. I mean, it's all tied to Lamar, and we're going to go in the assumption Lamar plays 14 games or more. We had a 7 for the Jags, a 7 for the Bears, a 7 for the Pats. Is this a 7 as well?
Yeah, I mean, they upgraded the offensive line. The problem is they need somebody other than Zay Flowers to be productive in the passing game, and old man Mark Andrews, and I'm not sure they're there. So I would love to say an 8 because it's Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, but a 7 seems about right.
Yeah, and there's a potential for 8 or 9 for sure. But again, how much has the injuries and the age for Lamar maybe taking him 10% back? So we'll go 7. Elite snap share. I mean, no more Harbaugh. The opportunity share is fucking awesome. It's a 10, but the snap share is a 5. So we're gonna go. I want to go 7 for this year. Maybe they try to keep Lamar healthy and just pound Derrick Henry, which they should have been doing the last year and a half.
It's 56% snap share, 71% opportunity share, number 15 in weighted opportunities. It should be a 10, but it's a 7. Although Keaton Mitchell being gone probably opens things up, maybe a little bit, but he's older, so I guess that offsets. So 7.
All right, we had 2, 10, 8, 7, 7 for Henry. That's 12. That's 20. That's 34 for King Henry, which. I mean, obviously the pass catching is going to hurt again. That in half PPR, this is a league winner.
Right. I mean he's being teamed by the pass catching and the age, right? A little bit of uncertainty there.
34, but he is tied with Josh Jacobs for the highest. And, where I'm kind of going off PPR here, and Jacobs has the 40, 50 reception total, but pretty fair to be the highest guy so far. Let's move on to the next name. We have 4 more names. Now, these are all second round running backs, guys. And we're going from the end of the second round. We're going to end off with Saquon Barkley, who's at the 1-2 turn. Devon A-Chain, man, this is interesting. Pass catching, is this a 10? It's got to be a 10, right? Or 9, maybe? Because McCaffrey would be a 10.
Yeah. I think if we're saying McCaffrey's a 10, then we got to put A-Chan as a 9.
I like 9. Yeah. We have goal line dominance. This has to be low for the sheer fact that even if he does get the goal line role, majority of it, which is still murky and it shouldn't do it, they're not going to be in the goal line very much. And Malik Willis is going to take some of those. This is probably a 3 or a 2. Yeah. I mean, I want to look at what we had before. We had who's the low guy? We had Tootin as a 4. This is less than Tootin for sure. Less than Tootin. You think 3 is fair just because they need him on the field in those snaps?
But I mean, they use him in the red zone, but they don't use him on the goal line. He had 1 goal line touch last year, but he had 39.
But his goal line extends farther, right? And I'm not going to say the 40-yard line, but let's go 3. Let's go 3 here.
I think 4. I think
4?
Well, he's like 190 pounds too. He's not.
No, that's why we got to go 3. We got to go 3.
Fine,
3 is fair. All right. See, teamwork makes the dream work. Disbandant wants a hat. I see your comments. These are not fitted hats. So you know what? You are a professional now. So you're in the hat giveaway and the merchandise giveaway. So once the season starts, there's only 3 people in there right now that don't have hats. You will be getting one this year at some point. Hit me up in the Discord. Maybe we can work something out. But you'll definitely get one coming up soon, my dude. Explosive runs and talents. This is also probably a 9.
9.
All right, simple enough. Elite offense. Now this, if you were trying to say this is a 1. This is a 1.
It's a 1.
1.
Yeah.
And then snap share. They might split him out a little bit this year. He's never going to be 80% snap share player though.
Dude, he was 76% last year, and he had a 71% opportunity share. Number 6 in league weighted opportunities. I think you got to go 8.
8. Okay. Yeah. This is a wild one. A-Chain, we have 93918. I mean,
918. Wow.
It's not what you want because the things that we have low aren't going to change. I don't think the offense might be a little better. The goal line stuff. So we have, let's see, 18, 21, 22. We have 30 for A-Chain. That is not good. Again, that's why I'm kind of fading it. It's like, what is his absolute ceiling? Unless he pops 7 fucking 60-yard touchdowns, it's just not there. And again, in PPR, he's a fine, nice little floor with some spike weeks, but floor for the season. Chase Brown, this one I was kind of targeting. I wanted to have this conversation because I think he's going to finish really high in this based on the criteria we have. Elite pass catching, we had 9 for A-Chain. We had 8 for Breece Hall. Is this right in line? Is this an 8 for Chase Brown? Because it's really good, man.
No, it's probably a 7. His yards per route run was 1.17 last year, so number 15 in the league. He does get a, target share is phenomenal.
Dude, he's averaging 60 catches a year, man. Like Breece Hall is not getting that. Like he might.
Yeah. So the opportunities are there. The efficiency is lacking though. Mm-hmm. So I would say it's a 7 in terms of pass.
I'll give you a 7. Goal line dominance. Now Pirine was cutting into that work a little bit last year, but Pirine's 31. Is this also a 7? Because they love playing him there. They don't run the ball a lot, which is a ding. But he has some nice, 5-yard receiving touchdowns. 7 seems fair just because they should have him on the field.
He's another guy that they love using in the red zone regardless, and then occasionally they'll bring in Pirine to punch it in from the 1. He only had 6 goal line touches last year, so I think 7 is reasonable.
All right. What is this? I got to get this off here. Okay, so we had 7. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Sorry, I spaced out. Okay. Explosive run / talent. This is probably also a 7 because he's really fast, but he's not the most talented guy in the world. But it's not a 6. Like his skill set's elite.
His athleticism metrics are all in the high 80s, low to mid 90s percentiles. But that doesn't really translate in terms of rushing and receiving explosive play rates. He's number 17 overall. So yeah, 7 seems about right.
This guy hitting all 7s. Elite offense. Now, this is probably a 9 if Burrow stays healthy.
Yeah.
I like the more, yeah.
Wide receivers, 1,000-yard rusher, Joe Burrow. They got to keep Burrow upright. He's healthy in the season. They're in good shape. I think it's a 9.
Sorry, can you scoot over this way a little bit so I can see your cute face?
Which way are you talking? I'm like centered in my screen. Which way do you want me to go? This way?
This way a little bit. There you go. Now you're perfect because I have this graphic up. We had 9.
I was looking at my face, which was set. Okay.
And then elite snap share, man. I mean, again, the Pirine thing was weird for that stretch. That was mostly with Joe Flacco under center. And I want to say 8 for this.
I think you got to go 7 because of the Pirine. They do like him a lot. 68% snap share, 72% opportunity share. Weighted opportunity zone number 5. I could be talked into an 8, but they only run 23 plays or run plays per game. That's not a whole lot. Not a whole lot to go around there.
Okay. That's 37. We had 7, 7, 7, 9, 7. This is the most balanced thing we have. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I like that.
37. I mean, this is again, Chase Brown is a middle of the second round pick. So now this makes sense for the exercise. This kind of justifies the exercise a little bit, right? Like it's showing why these guys are going where they're going. And Chase Brown has to have these things happen to be a league winner because where he's, where his ADP is. Let's go on to a Marion Hampton. This one's going to be very interesting. A couple more names, guys. And then again, we're doing a best ball draft after this. Story's going to log off. I'm going to start a new stream after I go to the bathroom. I'm still holding it in because I'm a tank. We have a Marion Hampton elite pass catching. This was really good last year. He was really good last year as a pass catcher. So give me your take on Hampton.
Yeah, it's a kind of a tale of two things because the targets are there. 12.4% target share last year. Route participation is there. 52% route participation, but he's not highly. He's a good pass catcher. 92% catch rate, but yards per route run 1.12, 6.0 yards per reception. Neither one of those really blows your socks off. I would love to say he's one of the best pass catchers, but until that efficiency creeps up, I can't get there. I think it's a 7.
Okay, I was going to say 6. I will give you 7, and Herbert is not afraid to check the ball down. Goal line dominance. Now, the other guys, like Vidal is the only one that always scares me because they're not going to give little Keaton Mitchell fucking carry from the 2-yard line. I feel like this is also a 7 or an 8. What do you have?
Oh, man, I wish we had seen a full season because we would know for sure. Like he is got the frame for it, right? 6 feet, 220 pounds.
Yeah.
He scored plenty at North Carolina. No question about that. But he only had 3 goal line touches last year. Now he missed 8 games, good chunk of it. I would say just because you've got another guy who saw plenty of goal line work there as well. I think 7 is reasonable.
Okay, we got 7 for Hampton there. Explosive run / talent. I am not sold on the talent. It's fine. This might be another 7 because the pedigree he had coming out and the injury. He definitely looks like a different player coming back from the injury, at least in terms of intangibles and vision and things like that, looking more comfortable. So I'm going to go 7 for this one.
I'm right in line with you. I mean, he's still only 23 years old, so he could certainly improve. Very similar to Chase Brown in terms of the athleticism metrics. The workout metrics are very high, in the 80s and 90s percentile. But again, right middle of the road in both rushing and receiving EPX. So I think 7, it remains to be seen. This should be a good offense to open up those opportunities for him, but we got to see more of it.
Elite offense, and shout out to Adam from Nice and Blunt. He gave a clinic on talking about the Chargers and their upside and the offensive line and McDaniels. We all get all that, but it's not going to be up there with the Bengals or the Cowboys yet. There's potential for sure. Is this a 6 or a 7 for you? Because I mean, they were 22nd last year, I believe, in points, but that was they had never had a shot, right? That offensive line was, and Herbert got hurt as well. So I like the ascension of this offense. I don't want to just crown them yet. So what do you have?
Hopefully Herbert doesn't take another 55 sacks this year because that would be bad for everybody. Assuming he doesn't, the offensive line back healthy. They got an upgrade. Nice backfield tandem with the 3 guys there. The addition of Mike McDaniel, people seem to really like. I would love to say that this is an 8, but Herbert still we're still talking about the hype. He's got one amazing season on his resume. The rest of it is all hypothetical. Here's another hypothetical season. I'm going to go 6. I think there's a lot of question marks still. People are crowning them as one of the best offenses, and I'm not there yet. I think they're right middle of the road, maybe top.
And yeah, I would say 7, but we'll go 6. We'll go 6. I mean, you don't have to sell me on selling, not buying into Hampton as ADP. Elite snap share. This one is also probably a 5 or 6 for me. I don't know.
I think this one's a 7. He go back and look. He was when he was healthy, he was 64% snap share, 69.7% opportunity share. Weighted opportunity is lower than we would have wanted. They do run a lot there. Yeah, man, I think it's a 7. I think if he maintains that snap share, 64%, he could easily get back into the 70s in weighted opportunity.
All right, I'll give you that. I was going to say 6 on that one and 7 on the last one, so we just split the difference there. 34, 7, 7, 7, 6, 7. You know what's wild, though, is Hampton, I think people think of Chase Brown as more of a floor play, and people think Chase Hampton to the moon. And our exercise right here just had Chase Brown at 37 and Hampton at 34. And I think that's pretty fair, at least based on this. This is not this is not science yet. This is the first year of the segment. I think it's been pretty justified with what we think about these players. And I think with we have different takes on some of these players. So
I will say this. Chase Brown, I think he's going to end up exactly the numbers that we gave him. Like, we know what Chase Brown is. Hampton, though, if any one of these ticks up into an 8 or a 9, the pass catching, the explosive runs, the offense, snap share, then this guy could easily swing into the high 30s.
But he also could tank. And if it's a 3-way committee and if he's not the talent we think it is and this offense isn't, they're what they were before. So it's very, very X factor type player. Let's move on to, we have two more names here, guys, and we're going to get out of here. I'm going to be back in 10 minutes to do a draft. Kenneth Walker, the tiny dancer. This one should be interesting. I'm guessing he's going to score very high. Elite pass catching. Now, he is not A-Chain or even Chase Brown. I think it's close to Chase Brown. Well, I want to go 6 here. What do you think about 6? Because I like what he does with the ball in his hands, right? He's not the savviest, but maybe 7 because he can take those to the house.
I think 7 because some of the more basic metrics like yards per reception, 9.1, yards per route run, 1.52. You only got 2 drops, 86% catch rate, target share, very good as well, at 7.9%. I think it's 7 realistically.
All right, goal line dominance. I mean, this should be really high. I mean, they're not giving Emmett Johnson, who I love out of Nebraska. He's 210 pounds, 205 pounds. Not a goal line dude. And, DeMarcado is a scat back. He's a big scat back, but he's a scat back. And Mahomes ain't going to run as much. So,
Kenneth Walker is 211 pounds, so he's not exactly a bruiser.
Right. I know. He's more of a bruiser than anyone else they have, and they paid him to have this role.
They don't have an Isaiah.
Is 8 fair because he's not the best goal line running back? Because he should get all the snaps, bro. Like, why are they going to take him off the field in the goal line? For who?
Yeah. I mean, they paid him. I think so.
All right, explosive run / talent. The dancing is a thing, but this has to be high.
It's an 8 at least.
I'll go 8. I don't think 9. We're not going to get over our skis on the playoffs. 8's totally fair.
The dancing is a thing, but you look at, he was number 2 in rushing explosive rate, play rate. So, I mean, how can you not say he's not an explosive player?
This one's tough. Elite offense. Like, I want to give the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt. Maybe we tick them up 1 point from what we say because of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So you have the Mahomes injury. You have the recent year and a half of being pretty average and no explosives for this offense, which is going to keep people in the box. No man beaters in terms of wide receivers. Kelsey was a dinosaur. What's your number here?
So we can assume a clean bill of health for Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yeah, we're assuming he's playing week 1, and maybe by week 3 he's back to 90% of his former self.
Yeah, I mean, God, if they can get healthy, fully healthy, then I don't think we should be surprised, especially with the upgrade to Kenneth Walker, that this offense starts humming again. If everything clicks this year, I think they could sneak into the top 8 realistically, but there's a lot of ifs related to that. I think I'm gonna go 7, maybe 6.
I was thinking 6. I mean,
6?
We should go 7 because of the Chiefs, though. But I'm comfortable with 6. I'm comfortable with 6.
Okay.
At least to start the year, right? Like, it might be better later on. We'll go 6. But then elite snap share. I mean, again, the injury stuff is concerning of like how much they really want to use them. But they might have no choice, right? With Mahomes not running as much, with the lack of weapons, trying to slow the game down and muck it up. I think this should be an 8 or a 9. I mean, let's look at who we had. We had Hampton at 7. We had 8 for A-Chain. This should be A-Chains at least, right? 8 for Javonte, 7 for Judkins. I think 8 is fair.
I mean, we're projecting, obviously, new team, right? 60% snap share in 22, 52% snap share in 23, 64% snap share in 24, and then it plummeted down to 47.5% last year. That was a Charbonnet thing. Again, there's really nobody.
We got to project, though. We have to project this. It's different. Probably, the money, everything else.
Without fully knowing the role, I can't go 9, so I got to go 8. They did pay.
We'll go 8s. We have 7, 8, 8, 6, 8. That's 14. And that's 37. That is a new tied with Chase Brown. I definitely see the appeal of Kenneth Walker as a league winner because I think he's a better player than Chase Brown. But I like the offense better with Chase Brown. So 37 is tied for the new leader in the clubhouse with Chase Brown. Last name here on the list. This was a great, fun little segments. Pretty proud of myself for coming up with this one and tinkering what I saw. I like the 5 categories. Maybe we can add one next year. We'll see how this plays out with the season and how right we were on some of these guys. Saquon Barkley, your boy, pass catching has not really been there since going to the Eagles. 37 and 34 receptions, I believe, the first 2 years. But we saw him, 80 receptions as a rookie? I mean, he has it in a range of outcomes. Not the most dynamic. You'd think he'd do more with the catches he has. I have a number in my head. What do you have?
For pass catching, definitely took a step back last year. His yards per route run were a meager 1.01. Obviously, that's not ideal. But in 2024, 1.41 yards per route run. Split the difference. I think he's probably a 7.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, Hurts doesn't check the ball down, but his ability should counteract that. 7
Right.
is pretty fair. And
11.6%
this is kind of a projection too, but different offense. They should throw the ball more to him.
On a low passing volume offense, he still had an 11.6% target share. So, and he ran 270 routes last.
Goal line dominance is weird because in terms of the running back room, it's really fucking high, but Jalen Hurts has to factor into this equation. We still have some unknown about the tush push. Was ineffective last year at the end of the year. Whether that was Hurts being hurt, you know, losing Kelsey, there's a lot of things at play here. I want to just say 7 just because it's Saquon Barkley. He's going to be on the field, but like maybe they don't give 7 shovel passes to Dallas Goedert this year and fuck him over. But I think 7 sounds pretty fair. It's not the strength of his game, right? He's getting those 2-yard touchdowns, but he should have some, and he's really good in the goal line.
Yeah, I think 7 is reasonable. We do have to consider that this is not a normal team in terms of goal line looks.
Explosive run / talent. Again, getting up there in age a bit. But
I'm
this
only
is
gonna
still Saquon fucking Barkley, dude.
I mean, his explosive play rates are top of the league, but I'm only going to go 8 because the age. He's starting to creep up there in age a little bit. You know, he's 29.4, so he'll be 30 when the season starts. No, he won't. He'll be 30 next year. But yeah, he's starting to creep up there a little bit. Although, like his, you know, obviously his workout metrics were in the 97th percentile.
That is fair. We have elite offense, an interesting one. A lot of unknowns. They were dog shit. Second half of the year, they were like a bottom 10 offense, maybe bottom 8 offense. Is this a 6 just because we're going to give Jalen Hurts the benefit of the doubt? As much as I shit on Jalen Hurts, you like Jalen Hurts. Better system. It can't be worse than Pachulo. And, you know, maybe A.J. Brown is addition by subtraction. I'm thinking 6 or 7.
I think I'm going to go 7. Yeah, I think they're a top 12 offense. But I think their range is pretty narrow. I think they're somewhere in that 14 to 8 range. But it'd be really tough for them to creep up in the top 5. So I think 7.
And then we have Saquon Barkley for elite snap share. I'm thinking 8. We had
9.
8 for Kenneth Walker. You have 9? You think it's 9?
I mean, he had an 80% snap share, 80% opportunity share last year. Yeah. Like,
there's no projecting here, right? There's no projecting here.
Role. Yeah.
22 and 16. That is 38. This is the new leader. I mean, obviously he goes the highest. So this makes a lot of sense. So right now we have, I'm going to read it in reverse order. So Barkley 38, Walker 37, Hampton 34, Chase Brown 37. That's nice at ADP. A-Chain 30, Henry 34. Those are the second round running backs. Third round running backs, Love 32, Breece Hall 29, Kyron 33. Disagree with that one. Javonte 31, Jacobs 34. So Jacobs seems to be a screaming value here, at least if you want to go for some upside, if he's not totally cooked. And then we have ETN 30, Scatterboat 29, Monty 28, Swift 30, Tootin 27, Judkins 26, Bucky 30, and Hendy 32. By the way, I'm changing Josh Jacobs. You had 34, I had 32. So we're gonna make Jacobs a 34 to split the difference because that's the exercise, which is fair. 33. He should be below a guy like Derrick Henry. You know, I know the pass catching is better, but we know Derrick Henry's still good at football. We don't know if Josh Jacobs is still the Josh Jacobs of old.
I mean, he's only 28 years old.
But he was a 20-year-old rookie, man. He's got a lot of tread in those fucking tires. And he's a human. Derrick's not.
That's true.
Hell of a segment. That was a grind, man. We started about maybe 35 minutes. So that's, you know what? That's why this show is different than other shows. They all just draft best ball. We're about to go draft best ball. But you get some elite ball knowledge and conversations, things that need to be had. And I'm super excited about this segment going forward through the years. We could tweak it a little bit, but I think it was pretty fair. We obviously can't account for everything. We don't want to have 8 categories either. I think it sums it up pretty nicely in 5.
Yeah, it makes me rethink some of the guys that I had, like that Omari and Hampton. You know, I might rethink where I have him ranked currently, just based on some of the stuff that we dug into tonight. So that's hopefully people can take some stuff away from this and utilize it in drafts. Which, man, I mean, people are drafting best balls, but redrafts have got to be here pretty darn quickly.
Thank you, Jay. Cards have way too many weapons. They are no way a 2. I mean, their offensive line does suck, but they're not a 2. You're right. Sorry is wrong. Jay says Jets could be a 5 if A.D. Mitchell gets busy. I'm closer on the Cardinals being higher than a 2 than the Jets being a 5. I could go 4 and 4 for both those teams. I actually like the Cardinals more than the Jets. I know the Jets have a better O-line, but we have to factor these things in. We're going to draft Underdog Disbanded. So I need 10 or 15 minutes. So we'll probably do 1 a.m. Central time. I'll be on there for a draft. 53 likes in this video. Quite a bit of people popping in and out. And thank you for all the super chats. Big Ray was in here. Mouth. Guys, check out Downtown Sports. Link in the description, or just go to YouTube, Downtown Sports. Iron Eagles coming on their show on September 1st. And one last time, let's give one quick shout out to the community. I didn't show Helen Hunt. I got a young picture of Helen here. Hello, Helen Hunt. She looks a little different there. Definitely looks a lot different now.
She's like 16 in that picture.
She might be 21. Who knows? What on Underdog? Probably a puppy disbanded. Probably a puppy. If you want to shout out to all the Patreon guys, I see disbanded in there. Appreciate you. Everyone's silent. Junkbuster, a couple of the most recent guys. Sean, shout out to you. You guys are awesome. If you're interested in joining this fine community, all these awesome people you see in here every single night, watching a 2-hour and 30-minute segment, gonna hop in and draft best ball. That's because they love the show. They love us, and we love them. We do have a promo going on for the first month. This is going up until the football season. So get in now. If you're thinking about it, get in and use this promo to save half off. It's just only $5 to get in the Discord for the first tier, and then it goes all the way up for what we offer. But if you get if the Discord to test it out, it's $2.50. Like, that is fucking less than a pack of gum. And we offer quite a bit of shit. You're going to get Storey's college football bets as well. But Discord, community fantasy leagues. We have one spot left in the best ball community league. That's $50. One spot left in the super flex league. That is $100. All on League Safe, so no worries about the funds. Guest appearances in the podcast. We love having fans on the show. Jonathan, shout out Jonathan a couple days ago. Had a bunch of them on the show. We're going to continue to do every Friday night on the season. During the season is going to be fan night. We're going to have multiple fans on, something no one else is offering. Free merchandise giveaways, the hats. Storey's got the shirt on, and also the bets. You're going to get Storey's college plays this year, as well as my prop bets. 96 and 58 last year, guys. All documented, all receipts. You get them on Wednesday or Thursday when I place them. You can wait till Saturday and get them when I do the show, but those odds are going to change, and you'll lose. You won't lose money, but you won't win as many bets as we do. 205 and 125 all time. Even odds bet Story. That is just money in the fucking bank, bro.
It's insane. It's a stupid record.
I am pretty silly. If you're interested, go to the website, professionalfanatics.com, or go in the description. The link for the Patreon's in there. Once you sign up, I'll give you an email that gets you in the community. That's my spiel. Appreciate everybody. We'll see you guys in like 12 or 14 minutes, 1 a.m. Central Time. We're going to do a draft or two. Story, you are awesome. Love the segment. Love the conversation.
Good segment.
We need to do these segments and just to get ready for draft season, talking these things out, opening our eyes. Sometimes we don't realize what we're saying because we're just reactionary on these, which is huge. Instead of having all this stuff prepared, most people can't do, don't want to do live streams because they get exposed. Not us, not you in particular, man. You're the GOAT.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. This guy's not the GOAT, but oh God. All right. Great show as always. Sorry, 2.5 hours. Sorry for keeping you late, but we just got deep on those names, and we needed to have those conversations. And I'm gonna keep this paper. We'll review it at the end of the year, see how close we got based on injuries and stuff. But whoever stayed healthy, we'll see how close we got to the true league winner.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I can't wait to look back and reevaluate based on the numbers that we put out tonight. Like, is Marion Hampton really a 7 in the pass catching, or was he a 9, or was he a 5?
Love it. All right, we'll see you guys in 8 minutes. I'm going to start a new stream. I will send it to the Discord. If not, just if you're subbed, you'll get the notification if you had the bell on. If not, just look for 1 a.m. Central. Story, you're the man. Appreciate you. We're going to reconvene on Thursday, I believe, and we're going to do a ranks disputes. We have our ranks out. We haven't released them yet, and we're going to see where we're differ the most in these players. That's also a really fun segment we do every year. Can't wait for that. Appreciate you. Love your life. Stay positive and respect each other. We're out.